Shields up, Iron Breakers, and welcome to another episode of the Cast. I'm here with Ratatoskr. We're going to be talking about Monster Hunter, Nintendo, some From Software stuff, and even one more topic that got lost in the last podcast that I was just like so happy when we were talking about it. And then it wasn't in the final video, and I was like, no, I will bring it back, and I will tell you what that topic is when the time comes. But how are you doing, Ratatoskr?
I'm doing very nice. I'm curious what that topic is. I don't remember.
That's going to be good. I'm sure you'll remember when I bring it up, but I was like, oh no, because that was like in the first hour and people don't know. Oh, I got to bring that back up. But
it's kind of funny. That first hour was the best hour. Like it was the best part of the podcast. So they're getting the it was still a great podcast, but the first one was even better and they never got to see it.
It's a shame. But, you know, we're here now. We're going to be talking about Monster Hunter, although before we do, I wanted to just let you in on a little interesting tidbit that I've noticed recently that is just, my mind is completely torn over these two things. So obviously we're going to be talking about the difficulty aspect of Monster Hunter and how, you know, a lot of people are complaining about how hard it is and all of how easy it is and all of that stuff and how they want more challenge, right? So you know that I'm also playing another game, which is called Path of Exile, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in Path of Exile 2, the situation is exactly the opposite.
Where it's too hard and people are complaining that it's too hard?
Yes. I mean, it's not exactly that it's too hard. It's more like, so the monsters, when the first patch came out, because they had like a new league, because that's how things work over there. They do these patches and then they have a league, and you're supposed to play through the whole game again, like the campaign and everything, and then you get to the end game and you experience end game with new things. And then, you know, a couple of months go by, they put out another league and so on and so forth. And this is when they do their big balance changes. And so because the game is still in early access and all of that, they went and they did a massive balance change where they nerfed everything. And then they also increased monster HP and made everything harder. And, you know, I go in there and I'm trying to play the game and I was like, oh, this, you know, I like the more slower, methodical, all of that stuff. And most of the Path of Exile community absolutely hates it. They want to blast, right? They want to be super powerful, destroy everything, because that's kind of like the ARPG traditional experience. So
that seemed to be the end goal, as far as I could tell. I've never played seriously any ARPG. I did play a little bit of Path of Exile 2, but I realized I don't think this is for me. But I have always assumed that the point was to delete everything on the map with big numbers and explosions by the time you got to the end game.
Yeah, I mean, that is the overall thing, but my interpretation when they started talking about it is that they wanted to do something different from the original Path of Exile, and I was like, oh, I like this. I'm surprised. So you actually played Path of Exile too?
I beat the first act with the boss, the werewolf guy. He was sick. Like that shit was actually really good. I really liked that boss. But I stopped shortly after.
Huh. So you stopped why? Because you didn't want it to go the big zoom route that you're supposed to go to near the end, supposedly?
No, I don't think it's my genre. I think it's just maybe one of those things that, like, you know, people just don't have a genre. I don't like racing games. I don't like sports games. I guess I don't like this style of ARPG.
ARPG, yeah, that's fair. What class did you play, just out of curiosity?
I played Warrior, which actually was a lot of fun for the time that I spent with it.
Yeah, I played Mercenary first, and then I played Warrior, and now I'm playing Warrior again for the second one. But yeah, it's fun. It's just a little thing that I thought was interesting. That on the one side, because I'm playing both games, right? On the one side, we're like, make it harder, give us more HP, make us do more work, and on the other side, it's like, no, make me more powerful. I want to destroy everything. And it's an interesting dichotomy between the two games. So you are the doomer of Monster Hunter.
I didn't want that title, but yeah, I guess I'm the doomer, the Monster Hunter.
And you know, that's okay, because I have a title I don't want either. I am the shill of Monster Hunter.
The shill.
I'm the big
I've heard that one.
The big shill of Monster Hunter, apparently. And so I guess one of the... Go ahead, you were saying something?
Yeah, I guess everybody has to be doing things for mercenary reasons when it comes to online discourse. Like if you like something and you just honestly like something, you have to be a shill. If you have criticisms about something and you voice those criticisms, oh, you're just doing it for the views. It's tiresome, but it seems to be where we're at.
Yeah. It's funny because it was kind of the other way around before the other way around, and at least for me, before the game came out. And even now, some people sometimes they like calling me out. They're like, "Oh man, I can't take this difficulty conversation anymore." And it's like I didn't even bring it up in the live stream where they're criticizing me. It's like I didn't bring it up. Like chat brought it up and I'm responding. Like I don't, am I supposed to just like, okay, I'm gonna ignore everybody that's in chat that's asking me for stuff about difficulty, and I'm gonna just not bring it up ever. It's a weird thing. But before the game came out, it was kind of the other way around. People were like, oh man, you're so toxic about this game, because I'd be criticizing things like, oh, I feel like this thing should hit harder, or that laser should have hit harder, or we shouldn't be breaking Gravios's belly in like one combo of attacks. Like, I don't know, maybe that's me. But yeah, that stuff definitely happens. But like with Monster Hunter Wilds, the way that it went down for me is like, okay, there are things that I want. There are things that I can tell that I'm not getting, but I can still enjoy the game, right? Whereas with you, it feels like it's not like that. Like you're actually just not enjoying the game. With we're not even talking about title update yet, just like base game at this point.
Well, I wouldn't say that I didn't enjoy like everything. Like it just had a terrible time all around. But it is the case that I'm just kind of not super excited for the title updates, because the title updates, even if they, provide us with super interesting and challenging monster fights, a lot of the damage for me is kind of done, because what about all that nice early experience that I wanted to enjoy? So it has soured me a bit. Like I understand. I think most people are where you're at. I think most people like Monster Hunter Wilds. But I also think that even if you really like Monster Hunter Wilds, a substantial number of people will admit, maybe it's a little too easy. Maybe we've hit the spot where, yeah, this is a little too easy, and we would prefer a more difficult early, mid, and end game, even for the base game, like regardless of the title updates.
So you started with Monster Hunter World. You definitely didn't feel like that one was too easy, right? Base game, before we got like any title updates or anything like that.
I think that World had some interesting challenges sprinkled around, and because you didn't have access to things like food, your sharpness started off not in green but in like yellow. Well,
depending on
yellow,
your weapon.
Yeah, sometimes it would start off in yellow in the low rank, and you had very little green. Like it wouldn't stay green for very long.
Yeah.
And because the sharpness went down and you didn't have a sacred, you would need to sharpen it. And even like low tier early game monsters had places where you would bounce off of them, and surprisingly, it's like, oh, I'm bouncing off if I'm at yellow. I have to be at green. I have to go sharpen. And the sharpness isn't lasting me very long because you still don't have any builds to make it last very long. So I think there was more of it. I'm not saying that it was extensive, and I'm not even saying that I would want it to be very difficult or super challenging, but it kept me engaged. I would say that even going back to it, having played Wilds, having played Rise 4U and 3U now, I go back to it and it's like, okay, I'm engaged. It's not that it's hard, and I'm not asking it to be hard, but I am asking it not to be brain dead, and I felt like Wilds was not giving me that.
So it has more attrition. It's not even just a straight up difficulty thing. There's just straight up more systems of attrition in World that would make it more engaging and more interesting, is where you're at.
Yeah, monsters would stun you more frequently. I rarely felt the stuns, because your HP started off lower because you didn't have access to all the food ingredients, and you couldn't get to max at the very beginning. And you didn't have easy access to nutrients yet. The early game was more. It required more thought. Kuluyaku could two-shot you, and that's not something that most of the early game monsters and most of the monsters in Wilds could do.
And so, with all of these mechanics, I want to dive deeper into those a little bit later, but like with all of these mechanics, right? You've played World a significant amount of hours, and then you jumped into Iceborne. Did you feel like Iceborne also felt maybe a little bit easier than what you expected once you've learned the mechanics of World?
So, not more than I expected. I felt like Iceborne was at a good spot. I would be perfectly satisfied if Monster Hunter Wilds came out and the challenge that it provided me with its expansion was, let's say, exactly at the level of Iceborne. We could tweak it a little bit harder than that, since we have more systems now. We have focus mode. We do have the Sacred, we have the Palico, so maybe let's make it a little bit harder just to compensate. But if it gives me an overall same amount of challenge, and then with the title updates that follow Iceborne, it culminates in something at Fatalis level. I mean, I have nothing to complain. I already got what I wanted, difficulty-wise, with Monster World.
So, but my thing is, would you say that Iceborne was easier than Base World? I'm coming to a point with all of this.
No,
it's not a gotcha.
No.
Okay. No?
No.
Okay. And so now let's move on to Rise. What'd you think of the difficulty of Rise?
What difficulty?
Okay, perfect. That's yeah. Perfect. And now let's move on to Sunbreak before ridiculous anomaly ranks. I don't know if you ever finished it. We probably already talked about that, but I imagine you didn't finish the anomaly grinding, because I sure didn't.
I didn't like it. I did not like the anomaly grinding. No, I didn't finish it.
How about Curious Crafting?
I did finish everything else.
Don't you just love Curious Crafting? It's so good.
I'm curious why anybody crafted anything with that system.
Exactly. That's actually a really good one. I didn't expect that. But like before the actual anomaly grinding, how did you find the difficulty of Sunbreak?
It was definitely a lot better, but it's kind of in a similar situation with Monster Hunter Wilds is in, because it's not necessarily like the monsters moving that I have a problem with. I think the monsters move better than ever in a lot of ways, especially the ones in Wilds. I'm very impressed with the moveset of a lot of the monsters. It's the interaction of a lot of things that make it not great. It's the player power. It's the amount of damage you do, the amount of ways you have to do that damage, the different moves you are, how easy it is to pull off those moves in comparison to how it was even just one game ago. Well, 2 games ago, I suppose, if you count Rise. Yeah. It's how easy it is to heal on the Sacred, how, it's the minimization of a lot of the things that people find tedious and annoying, but that I find very core to the Monster Hunter experience. Though I guess Capcom doesn't agree with me. So congratulations on the people that are on that opposite side.
It's
like
funny.
The sharpening and the stuff like that.
It's funny because like I distinctly remember when was the Elden Ring thing, and everybody was like, "Oh, we should get an easy mode," and you made a video and you're like, "Your side already lost." It's like, my side already won. I'm just telling you why you're wrong, or something along those lines. I was like, damn. It's just like, let him know. Like, what the hell?
I was harsher before. Damn.
Yeah,
dude, you remember that video?
It was crazy. But so the point that I was coming up to, right, is because ahead of me doing the review for Wilds, I watched my review for Iceborne and Rise and Sunbreak, and in all 3 cases, there was like some sentence along the lines of like, "Yeah, it was kind of a bit easier than I expected," and then in Rise, it was more like, "It was kind of a lot easier than I expected," and then in Sunbreak, there was still something like, "Yeah, I mostly just used 1 armor set, beat the whole game, wasn't even that challenging." So that's why when I was going to Wilds, I'm like, what does it even mean for me to just say in my review that I think it doesn't mean anything? Because I've said this for the last 3 reviews that I've made of Monster Hunter. This has no meaning
10
whatsoever.
Years.
Yeah. I've been saying this for 10 years. Maybe I'm the problem. I don't even know anymore, right? Because it's a weird situation. So I did say that I expected it to be more challenging or something like that, or I wanted it to be more challenging. But Ultimately, in the review, I just didn't know because the only other person that I was talking to at the time about the game, because you didn't ask for a review copy because you wanted to play it blind. And so the only other person I was talking to was Cowboy, and we were kind of agreeing on like, yeah, one of the big problems is the Palico, which if you remember, I went into your stream and I told you, hey, listen, just take out the Palico. You instantly card it twice.
That was a unrelated. No, it was the Palico is really strong.
And the funny thing was, I told you, hey, listen, take out the Palico. Don't use Sacred Recovery. You instantly card it twice, and you Sacred Recovery out of muscle memory, which was hilarious as well.
It's funny. I did a lot better after you left. After you left the stream, I kept playing without the Palico and without the Sacred. And I was like, damn it, why wasn't he around for this? Look at me. I'm kicking ass. I'm destroying shit. Where'd he go?
No, but it's like it's an interesting effect that I think that a lot of players won't realize is you don't understand how impactful the Palico is, but you can also very quickly adapt to when he's not there. But it's that period while you are adapting, because that's exactly what happened to me on the Chemetries cart. It was literally like the first monster. I'm on the stream and I carted there.
Wait.
What?
Chemetries cart?
Yeah, Chemetries.
No.
So
now,
here's
Popolo. That's the reason. But Chemetries.
Yeah, no, that happened to me on my playthrough because, like, I did the one with all of the limitations that I put on myself, which was like no healing, no Palico, no Sacred, and what else? No armor upgrades and armor spheres.
Ooh.
No. I killed Zoshia without the armor upgrades, like the title update one. Like I did everything without armor upgrades. Including, I think, Mizutsune. Yeah, also 5 strength tempered Mizutsune, which is one shot in people left and right. I did all of that without any armor spheres. And only after I did this first title update, then I started putting in armor spheres. But so was no armor spheres, no restocking after the begin quest thing. And it was just like a far more enjoyable experience. Like, it was phenomenal. I had an absolute blast. But at the same time, it kind of sucked because, like, I don't have my Palico. I like having the Palico. He's cool. But regardless of that, so I get to the Chemetries because that's the first point at which you can dismiss the Palico. And I send the Palico away. And I'm just like, okay, I'm fighting the Chemetries. And suddenly I die. I was like, wait, what? What happened? Because the Chemetries hit one attack on me that I wasn't expecting. And then I started blocking, and it was just like going all ragey and attacking a bunch of times. And, I'm on the defensive. I'm blocking. I can't sheath my weapon because it's throwing a bunch of hits at me. And it just kind of like burned me down. The one time I tried sheathing, it attacked again. And I was like, oh, damn. And it was like in a previous situation, the Palico would have gone on there. Hey, have this heal. Boom. And it would have saved the whole thing. But that's just the thing. I carded Chemetries. And then the next time I carded was probably like high rank on the Kutkus because I'm fighting 4 Kutkus, not using dung pods. And I'm fighting 4 of them at the same time and getting slapped around and without friggin' restocking. So I'm like at a moment because the other thing is also like, oh no, I'm killing all the Kutkus. I'm not just killing the target. I'm killing all of them. They're all going to go die. And so I'm having like actually go forage herbs and honey and stuff like that and make my own potions and all of that. And I think that was probably the next time I carded because I don't remember carding after the Chemetries before high rank. But yeah, it's like it catches you off guard that moment that you're adapting. But afterwards, you can just do just fine, I feel. But you eventually went back to using Sacred and Palico again, right?
Well, I alternated back and forth. So throughout, even before you had gotten there, I had been alternating throughout the playthrough, turning them off. And well, the Sacred I always had been using until you recommended not doing it. But for the Palico, I was like just to see the difference, like trying to see get an impression of what they were like. See, the thing is, I really actually do enjoy the Palico, and I enjoyed him because you could kind of customize him in world. You had these cool little feline quests where you would go to the village of the felines, and they would give you a tool, and then he would have the ability to trap. Or now you can switch it out to heal, or you can switch it out to distract the monster, so you can do whatever you want. Those were neat, and so it felt like it was a customizable thing, and it was not super strong, and you had the trade-off of picking which one. Whereas in Wilds, he has all the tools all at once from the beginning, and then he just gets more as you play further. So he's cracked. Avatar Palico.
And they're even more powerful than they ever were in World, from what I can tell. I don't know about the damage one, but I imagine it's probably also more powerful. So that's kind of like the situation that ended up happening with that, which is it's annoying, and not everybody's going to like the situation. Some people say that they're still struggling, which I can kind of understand. If you're brand new players jumping into Wilds, you don't know all the mechanics, and now you're trying to juggle like knowing your weapon with the focus mode, which is kind of like its own thing. And I can understand why some people would struggle with that, because interestingly enough, and we'll talk about focus mode later as well, but like interestingly enough, focus mode also nerfs you in a way, which I find interesting. Whereas in World,
in what way?
In World, you can actually correct your moves more if you're not. I mean, there's no focus mode in World, but you can actually correct your moves way more than in Wilds without focus mode.
What do you mean?
So if you're playing World and you're playing Wilds, and imagine there is no focus mode in Wilds, I can correct my gunlance thrusts much more in World than I ever could in Wilds. I will be able to aim my attacks in World in ways that you cannot aim them in Wilds. Like you can't do an attack, and with certain weapons, you can't do an attack and just aim it towards the right side without, or course correct towards the right side or the left side without going into focus mode, because it won't correct nearly as much as it would in World. It's something that I don't know if a lot of players will even notice, but because I'm constantly fiddling around with the weapons, and out of the it's like over 200 hours that I have in the game, probably 50 of them have been spent in the training room. So, yeah. Trying to get all those guides done and stuff, but yeah.
I saw I went to one of your streams, and I was I will pop in usually for a few minutes, and I popped in at just the right moment where you were like just tired of the difficulty argument with people, and you're like, God, what was it? Well, I guess it was basically, it might have been the moment that you were talking about early in our conversation, where you were like, yeah, you were just like, I don't want to talk about this all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because I do get tired. Like right now we're talking about it, and I've actually haven't done anything like related to Monster Hunter yesterday. I streamed it on Sunday, but mostly chill. So it's like, okay, I'm fresh. I can talk about it now because I haven't had to read a whole bunch of comments on it recently. So I can talk about it. But it's like, there have been times where it's like, you open up YouTube Studio on your phone. I don't know if you do that or if you check that on your desktop, but usually I check up YouTube Studio on the phone, and I just like go through all the comments in every video. And, you'll read like 50 comments of people arguing back and forth about difficulty. And I'm just like, oh God. The ones that bother me are the ones that are going like, you can't enjoy the game. How dare you enjoy the game? You shill. Stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I can still enjoy the game while I'm still criticizing the things that I think it's not doing right, but I can still enjoy it. Okay. Just let me play my game. All right. I'm a 43-year-old man. I have 2 kids. Sometimes stuff happens in life, and I'm like, I'm escaping into this game. Leave me alone.
I think probably ahead. since we're on opposite sides, because I see the other kinds of comments. So like I make my video, and it's it's as polite as I can make it. Although I guess some people don't get that the ending is a joke, where I'm like, go away to the old Jed. I still get people that don't understand that the outro is just I'm kidding, just needling you right before we end the whole thing. But I get the opposite, where it's like, I'm just telling you what I think.
Yeah,
like I'm just telling you the things I don't like. It's just a video, and there seems to be a lot of people that feel the same way. I'm not telling you can't enjoy the game. Go enjoy the game. Why are you bothering me about it? I made one video to express what I thought about it and my hopes for the expansion and future games. We don't gotta do this forever. I saw yesterday somebody posted on my Discord that somebody made a response video to mine. It's probably getting more popular today. It's like 4 hours long, and I'm like, bro,
4 hours?
Yeah, 4 hours.
How long was your video? Wasn't it like only a couple of minutes?
It's like 40 minutes. Like
oh, you do have 40 a 40
minutes.
video. Oh no, that's the video that I watched. Okay. Oh no, I remember the one. I watched it before we did our podcast. Well, I listened to it while I was doing some cleaning. But yeah, no, I remember that video. Jesus, 4 hours.
I'm sure it's a fine video. I haven't seen it, but I don't know if I want to like get involved with this forever.
Yeah.
You know,
go ahead.
I've made my thoughts clear. Like, I don't think it's super important to keep some number of us didn't like the difficulty to the point that we ended up not liking the game. Some of us liked the game, but still were disappointed in the difficulty. Some of us aren't disappointed in the difficulty and like the game, you know, anyway. Like, that's the position. I don't think we got to be rude about it. I'm getting tired of the rudeness.
See, that's exactly where I'm coming from. Cause like there's all of this stuff that is going on online right now, right? With the culture war and a bunch of other stuff. And the biggest thing is all of these social media algorithms, they just kind of reward the most extreme positions, right? And so everybody is going off of like, no, you have to absolutely hate it and despise it and it's disgusting, or you have to glaze it until the end of times and, you know, nuance be damned. And it's just very hard to try and have like a civil conversation about it without getting a bunch of people jumping in and absolutely hating it, or jumping in and absolutely glazing it and hating you because of the fact that you don't hate it, or because that you like it or whatever. And it's just like, it's too extreme, which it's just a weird space to exist in. But yeah.
So, those damn algorithms.
Yeah, the algorithms for us. And then the thing is, the algorithms also make us sometimes, you know, squeeze the title a little bit more for juice. And that's
juice.
Yeah, you squeeze those titles for juice and those thumbnails, and that just makes everything worse. But yeah, I guess,
you know, I've developed a kind of a reputation that I didn't intend, and I don't think I deserve it anyway.
Are you a clickbaiter?
No, not a clickbaiter. But I have got like some of the early comments, even like the nice ones that are just joking with me, kind of needling me for it, are like, man, I can't wait for the next game where Ratatoskr hypes it up for months up to release and then decides he hates it a month later and makes a negative video. This was great, Ratatoskr. See you next time. I'm like, God damn it, why the fuck do I have that reputation? I don't want that reputation. First of all, it's not true. That didn't happen.
I mean, you were hyped for Wilds. Let's be real, we all were. I still am, by the way.
Yeah, but I was giving out my misgivings well before the game came out, like 6 months ago.
That's the thing.
I was giving out misgivings.
And it's like I was getting crap over criticizing how I thought it was too easy. And now I'm getting crap because apparently I didn't criticize it enough. This is like such a weird thing. But
when I saw the Sacred recovery for the first time, I pointed that out in a video.
Yeah, I remember that.
And people were like, "Oh, you're being ridiculous. That's totally not how it's going to work. It's not going to work like that at all." But it's exactly how I described it, and I got shit about it for weeks.
I remember somewhat the description that you made of it. I would say it's worse. Okay, listen.
It's worse than what you thought.
Let me tell you a comment that Gaijin Hunter made on one of the Third Fleet podcasts, and when Gaijin Hunter says this, you know that it's a really good thing, the sacred thing, you know, how powerful it is, which was... I was talking to him about how I had chatted with Fighting Cowboy, and Fighting Cowboy said that Sacred Recovery was is it Wirefall or Wirebugfall? I forget. It's Wirefall, right?
Wirefall.
Yeah.
Wirefall.
It was Wirefall 2.0. And Gaijin said, no, it's more like Wirefall 4.0. Okay, so it's like, and that's Gaijin saying that. Okay, so it's like that should give you an idea of what to expect. But you know, let's not dwell on our poor getting all these negative comments onto us. Oh, woe is us.
Poor streamers, poor YouTubers
having
to deal with mean comments.
Oh, it's so bad. Oh, let us cry some more about it. Oh, Coach, to have a little cry session. But let's get away from that. And we got to talk about something that I think is probably one of the most important topics moving forward for Monster Hunter. Okay, so this is like a really big deal. So both you and me like slowing down the pace. I think we can agree with that, right? Slowing down the pace, have more animation commitment, right? More hunting simulation, more of all of that, more about sharpening, more about having to maintain your food, picking up stuff.
Any inconvenience along those lines.
Not super inconveniences, but at least going back to where we kind of were at the world point, maybe a little bit less, because having no restocking would be even better. So the thing is...
let me interject just slightly here. A lot of people have taken me to be a old gen hater. I'm not an old gen hater. Like, part of the reason why I have...
Why would they think you're an old gen hater?
Maybe it's the video where I was like, if you're an old gen fan, like, go away. It's just a joke. That's the last thing I said in the video, because in the outro, I was like, if you're a...
So wait, so this video is about Monster Hunter World?
No, the video that you watched, video that was my Wilds criticism. Like at the end, I did a little outro, and I'm like,
if you're an old gen hater, go away. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
No, an old gen. If you like the old gens, go away.
Okay.
Is what I said, but it's a joke.
Yeah.
I was ripping on everybody. Anyway, so. No, the part of the reason why I like the slow methodicalness is because I went back after playing World and played 4 Ultimate, and I thought, oh, this is kind of nice. This is kind of neat. My ideal Monster Hunter game isn't World again. It's World minus. It's like slightly less than World. Not halfway between World and 4U, but like just a little bit less than World.
Little bit less than World. Yeah.
That's my ideal.
I think I'm kind of in the same boat, because like, to me, and I know that people have like this big thing about restocking. I've never shifted my position on this. I've always said restocking is a net negative for the game. And I know that bow gunners are like losing their mind. It's like, hey, listen, your weapon back in World was cracked, was busted. Okay, I'm sorry. It is what it is. Like, you guys can say whatever you want. I remember you guys going around, like, especially during the Iceborne days, we're like, oh yeah, rapid fire stickies, and Kushala can't move at all, like just stays there and takes it. And when you're out of ammo, you go back, you restock, you go back and you give him some more of it. And it's like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, that's just... Maybe you shouldn't be able to do. There's a reason why your gun fires like 10 different types of ammunition. Okay, maybe use some of the other ones every now and then. I don't know, like because that's the way that I thought bow guns were supposed to be played. Right? When I every time that I would try to play bow guns, I'd be like, okay, so I'm gonna load up and I'm gonna have some piercings, then I'm gonna have some slicings, then I'm gonna have a couple of clusters, and I put in all of these different ammunition types, and I'd be like, okay, I'm good to go, and then I'd be using them, obviously complete noob. And then you look at videos that people are making, it's like, oh, so you just shoot slicing, huh? Okay. And you just spam that on Kushala's head and he can't move. Okay. Because this was during the slicing meta. Then it changed to the sticky meta. It's like, oh, so now you just spam stickies and he can't move. Oh, okay. Or then there was also the cluster meta for a while. It was like, oh, so you just chain trap him and spam clusters. Oh, okay. Okay. So it's like, if you want to argue restocking because of that, we're never going to agree. Okay. I just don't agree with you. Okay. It's like, but beyond that,
if that's going to be,
go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I think the restock is probably one of the things that from older gens, because it changed your dynamic with the map. Like you're in the thing, you're fighting the thing. You've got your 10 mega potions, and your 10 mega potions and 2 max potions. And you're like, all right, let me go kill this thing. And you realize, oh, I've got no more mega potions. I got fucked up by this thing. Now what do? He's almost dead. I can leave the quest and go back, or I can like risk it, or I can pick up stuff off the ground. Now I can pick up things off the ground and make the potions here, which is what I would like to go back to. Like that's a tension I only felt in 4U and 3U, and you can't You can't recreate that if you have. Now, my solution has always been maybe there's a halfway point, because I'm all about halfway points when it comes to this. Maybe a compromise would be you have the camps, and the camps have resources, but it can't grab every single thing you've ever picked up in your whole life. You know, when you're in the main hub area, maybe you can set up, what do your camps have? Because, you know, when you go out hunting, you bring some supplies with you. You know, you bring some number of stuff alongside you.
I agree with that. Sure.
You have the stuff you can carry, and then you have a certain number of slots, and you can put what you want in those slots, and you can carry those into the mission with you. Go back to the camp if you need to restock, but it's a limited restock. You know, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about that I would like to see.
I still think that the best system was GU. I probably told you about this system already, or maybe you experienced it yourself. You ever did the GU supply drops thing?
I have still not gone through GU. I haven't played GU.
Oh, you haven't? But, I mean, you've played GU. You just haven't, like, finished it, right? Or you haven't played GU at all?
I played a little bit. Okay, I played a little bit of GU.
Okay, so there's a system. You don't mind me telling you this system, right?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So there's a system which I think only unlocks when you get to G rank. It's either G rank or, like, high rank village, whatever, which in the older games, high rank village is a part of G rank because village is only low rank. And then if you want to go high rank, that's only hub. Which is multiplayer scaled. And then when the G rank version comes around, you get like high rank village, which is single player high rank. And then you go G rank hub, right? I mean, I'm assuming you knew this.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So it's either high rank village or G rank. But when you get that system, it's like a new cat unlocks, and it's like on your flying airship thing, because the hubs in GU, they're flying airships. And you're on the flying airship, you go up to this counter, and there's a cat there, a palico, and you just tell them, okay, listen, I want a supply drop, and I want it to have these items on it. I forget exactly how you get to choose the items, but it costs like guild points, right? And so as you are doing the hunt, you'll get like a message saying, hey, a supply drop is landing in zone something. And then you go there. You can go to that zone, and there's just like it's straight up like a military drop from a plane, right? They drop, and it lands in this general area, right? Except in the game, the general area is that map. That's the general area, and they'll tell you which zone it's landing on. And I think that there's a marker on your map as it's landing. I think it even stays there. So you can just go to that zone. And it basically what's there is like, it's a missile. It's like a missile that dropped from the sky, like a funny looking missile. And you open it up and it's got like your supplies on it. Which to me...
That's pretty close to ideal. That's
yeah,
good.
I think that's the best one. I think it's even best than having like camps. Because when you have like camps everywhere, like we have in Wilds right now, it's like, oh, this is kind of my own playground because I have all these camps. Whereas if the supplies are being airdropped to you, you're kind of like, okay, we're in a hostile environment. I can't just like have camps in here. This is not my playground, which to me is a more immersive thing. And it's cool because it can drop like those things in and you go and you pick them up. And I think you can have up to like 4 drops, but they cost points. So everything has like a certain amount of balance. Of course, that, if you're someone who is used to restocks, you're going to look at the system, going to be like, oh, that's so clunky. And I'm like, well, maybe, but it's also incredibly more immersive, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe the problem that we're having is there's like an immersion to convenience ratio. Like I will sacrifice some convenience for some level of immersion. For Monster Hunter specifically, I really like the hunting simulation elements, the immersive elements, the elements that let me role play as a hunter, even if they're not the best. Like even if you personally, like person listening, doesn't think that they're important or cool. You don't like the paintballs or the hunting tracking. It's like you don't think that's important. As long as you get to fight the monster, that's all you care about. But I that's not the only thing I care about. I do like the other elements. Those aspects are good, and I think that they make the experience of actually fighting and killing the monster more enjoyable for me.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at as well. I want more simulation. I want more of that, but that is not what we got with Wilds. Absolutely. And now, like I was saying, this is going to be one of the most important things for the future of Monster Hunter. So do you think that there is a world where we can have these things that we are saying, and at the same time, the game still careful. There's
money.
More. Exactly. At the same time, the game still maintains the broad appeal that Wilds has.
So Call me a hopeful fool, but
Hey!
not only do I think that. Well, okay, no. Let me rephrase that.
Careful.
No, I don't think that. Because
wait, stop. So, how do we go from call me a hopeful fool to wait? Actually, no.
I need a caveat. A caveat first. I don't think we're going to get my ideal world minus game. But we might get world plus, like world plus one, instead of continuing to push forward in the Wilds direction. And I'll explain why I think that's at least plausible. Like, even if it's not the most likely situation, I think why I think it's a possible situation. And the thing that I have to say is that I don't think Capcom has ever seen this many people criticizing the difficulty ever. Because it's not just me as a lone voice in the wilderness. Before I even played the game, every reviewer, though they did give the game a positive review and they liked it, including yourself, criticized the difficulty. Not one or two, like almost universally. Almost everyone. Mainstream media outlets like Polygon, which are not known for enjoying difficult games and being able to, they came out with a thing where it's like Monster Hunter may have lost its soul kind of thing because among the other things it's difficulty. It called it brainless and mindless in that article. Damn. IGN had a pretty scathing review talking about its difficulty. Gaijin Hunter had a thing where it's like, this is probably the easiest entry in the thing. And I'm like, wow, I was very shocked by all of this, like almost unanimous recognition in that it's just too easy. It seems like everybody's in agreement. That doesn't mean they hate the game. That doesn't mean that it was so easy that they couldn't enjoy themselves. But they all did come to the, this is a little too much. This is too easy. And Capcom does seem to be the kind of company that listens to the fans, like especially the Western audience. They did the hit stop changes specifically because they thought that's what the Western audience wanted. When it turns out that wasn't what the Western audience wanted, they changed it back when requested. When you're having all of this feedback, I think it's possible. There's also the possibility that Wilds doesn't outsell World. I think it's still possible. I know we're at like, what, 10 million the last time
it was 10
that
million,
we counted?
The last numbers, yeah.
And those are strong numbers. It outsold World
initially.
Its initial sales, but I think it's still possible that it tapers off. And if I remember right, Tears of the Kingdom was in a similar situation where it was initially outselling Breath of the Wild, but now if we look at it today, its current sales don't even match up to Breath of the Wild's current sales, so it will never catch up. And I think that's just probably going to continue. It will never catch up to the number of sales that Breath of the Wild had. So if we get comparable sales, like it doesn't even have to be exactly lower, but if we get equal to, around equal to, or slightly less than what the sales that World got, then what do they care? They just can give you what we want. If everybody's complaining about the difficulty, they're making the same amount of money either way. It's not like World was an unpopular game. It's not like I'm asking you to bring back Monster Hunter DOS gameplay.
Yeah, it's. I kind of lost my.
But that's my cope.
Yeah,
that's my cope.
That's your cope on. We might potentially still get it.
Yeah, World Plus.
I don't know if we will get it. There's a whole thing about the amount of people that are playing it right now, which was like completely record breaking, is insane. Okay, yep. I remember the one thing that I also wanted to bring up, which is one of the main reasons this is also outselling World on its release is because World was not a full platform at the same time release. PC
right,
wasn't
it wasn't
there.
PCs.
Because another thing that I'm not sure if you're aware of, but I believe that the sales of PC, the PC version, accounted for more than 50% of Monster Hunter Wild sales, at least on that first 8 million copies sold or whatever. So it's like a big portion of that is just, PC players, when they're not treated like second-class citizens, they'll show up way more than they would when they are treated like second-class citizens, as in when you have to wait longer for the game to come out on PC. Nobody likes that. Everybody wants to play it when it releases.
Well, too bad for Duskbloods, because you're going to be waiting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if you're going to be waiting. Has it even been confirmed that it's not just like a console exclusive forever?
Yeah, you might not ever get it. The only situation where I can remember one was Rise, really. Like Rise
we thought we were never going to get it. Yeah, true.
Yeah, but I think that's the one example of that happening on the Switch.
Yeah. But, on this same topic of whether or not we'll ever going to be able to slow everything down and get more hunting simulation while still maintaining its broad appeal, one of the things that I wanted to ask is, do you think that the majority of WoW's success is on the back of the success of World?
I don't know if it's the majority. I'm sure. I think that it is undeniable that some large percentage of, like, if Wilds had come out, without World having coming in, like, part of the reason why people were super hyped is because, everybody had played World. Like, it's a 28 million sales, huge sales numbers for Monster Hunter World. Everybody by this point had played it and enjoyed it, like big. Even if you personally didn't play it, you had seen somebody play it, or like big. It's a phenomenon. So yeah, some percentage of it. That's not to say that it's not carrying its own merit, but you have to admit some of that is coming from World's popularity.
See,
some of those initial sales.
I was just looking something up before the podcast out of curiosity. There's another series that are you familiar with Mass Effect? You played Mass Effect?
Yeah, I love Mass Effect.
Played all three of them? Because
I did.
The other one doesn't matter.
I did play all three of them. The only three that exist.
Because a funny thing is, what if I was to ask you which one's the best Mass Effect game?
I'd say 1 or 2.
1 or 2? Really? That's a question for you?
I have some fondness for both.
Interesting. Okay, because like I would imagine most people would answer Mass Effect 2, and it's not even close. If you try to include 3, then it's not even close to 3, right? But the reality is, Mass Effect 2 was massively successful because Mass Effect 1 was also massively successful. Everybody enjoyed Mass Effect 1. So it's like Mass Effect 2 shipped 2 million copies 2 weeks after. And for a lot of people, going to be like, 2 million copies. It's like, yeah, this was
chump change.
Yeah, chump change. But it's like, this was back in the day before gaming audience is as big as it is. Because like gaming audience nowadays is massive, and 2 million copies not that big a deal. Back then, like, people need to understand it. In its first year or whatever it was, Dark Souls sold 1 million copies, and From Software was like ecstatic. They're like, oh man, we sold 1 million copies. Woo, that's amazing. Right? Something along those lines. But so Mass Effect was 2 million copies 2 weeks after the game released, and then they reached 7 million copies right before the release of Mass Effect 3. Now, Mass Effect 3 is regarded by most, present us included, as probably the worst of the trilogy. Not a bad game for me personally. I still liked it.
No, I don't think it's bad. But yeah, definitely the weakest of the three.
The weakest of the three. But it was the most commercially successful game. And this was not like something like just because of its opening months or whatever. This thing blew past. It sold more than... it sold twice as many copies as Mass Effect 2 in the launch months, and it generated a lot... Oh, no, actually, I'm wrong. Never mind. It generated a lifetime sales of 6 million copies. So your theory is actually the correct one.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't read it all the way.
Historical precedent, baby.
I didn't read it all the way. Like, I was just reading it over real quick before we started, and I was like, oh yeah, this kind of like supports the point that maybe it'll sell. No, it only sold 6 million copies, whereas Mass Effect 2 had sold 7 million copies before 3. So it actually makes, it kind of really supports your point that maybe Wilds won't sell as much as World. Interesting. Who knows? But that is interesting.
And again, it doesn't have to sell less. It just has to sell comparable amounts.
Yeah, comparable amounts. And you think that will potentially cause them to reevaluate their decision on the hunting simulation? Because the thing is, right, what
At the
everybody
very least, the difficulty. At the very least, the difficulty. Maybe not so much the hunting simulation, but the difficulty seems to be a unanimous thing.
But you see, I think you're coming up on a monkey paw curl situation there, because
Yeah.
what is going to happen is we're all talking about difficulty. I feel that not enough people are talking about pacing, which I think is far more important than the difficulty of the game. Because what has happened is...
We should be more specific, yeah.
Yeah. World had a certain pacing, and the pacing of World was already way faster. Like, if you're talking about the comparison to World to one of the older games in terms of pacing, World evolved more than from World to Rise in terms of, like, speeding up the tempo of the hunt. Would you agree? Like, let's say from
the old games are like turn-based games in comparison to World.
Yeah, exactly. So World is already super fast. Rise is like on crack. It's straight up crack. I feel like Wilds is a little bit slower than Rise and Sunbreak. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah, it's still not as fast as Rise. No, I agree with you.
I think it's a little bit slower than Rise and Sunbreak, but it is still significantly faster than World. And so what the problem is, when you and I are talking about difficulty, and this is something that I feel like both of us, even to a certain extent, haven't expressed it properly. Maybe you have in other videos that I haven't watched all of them, but like when we're talking difficulty, we're talking also about pacing. It's like we want a slower paced game, a harder game. It's not monster comes in, one-shots you. It is monster comes in and is going to do a move that is properly telegraphed, but you're also not fast enough to just dodge that move willy-nilly every time that you want, or instantly block that move willy-nilly. You have to commit to either blocking, dodging, and once you take that action, it's like you're saying, it's almost like a turn-based game, but not quite like a turn-based game. It's still much faster than a turn-based game. But it is...
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, because we have an example of what I don't want to happen, and that's Monster Hunter Rise and then Sunbreak.
Yeah.
Because Sunbreak is definitely harder than Rise, but the way in which it cranked up its difficulty, especially in its title updates, was that they just took the sliders to the AoE attacks and made them everywhere. You know, it cranked up the sliders for the damage. It cranked up the sliders for the area of effect damage. It cranked up the amount of times that the monster will attack in succession, over and over.
The aggression, which I think is actually the most important one for us to discuss, the aggression level of monsters and the speed and aggression of monsters. I think it's the most important thing that we need to tackle, because if we look at what is the biggest challenge in Monster Hunter Wilds base game, because now after the title update, there's some debate about what's the biggest challenge, but in the base game, I think everybody can agree 5 strength tempered Gore Magala will just slap anybody into oblivion.
Yeah, he's an angry boy.
But the reality is that the type of difficulty that we want? Because he's angry and he's fast and he's, it's like he's hard, and we're getting a harder version of him, which is probably just going to reinforce all those things that we just talked about. But it's like, that's not necessarily the difficulty that I'm talking about, and it's very hard to express in a way that people can understand without having played the older games, because the older games were harder, but not faster and more aggressive. There was a different pacing. Our hunter was weaker, and we also had access to lesser skills, and therefore that's where the difficulty came from.
And our actions took longer.
Yeah.
Healing, it was immobile. You had to stay still while you did it, and it was, you had to do the flex afterwards. It didn't heal you as much. A mega potion was piddly, like a fucking half your health. Still missing after taking one. It had all those. It had all those things. Yeah, because see, the Sunbreak solution really is not what I'm talking about when I'm saying that I would like more challenge. Maybe challenge is a better way. It's not the kind of engagement that I'm looking for. Maybe not never. Like obviously, it's not like I'm saying I hate Gore Magala or that I would object to a monster like him existing. But not if that's the only kind of difficulty that we're going to experience in the title updates.
Which is kind of what we got with Sunbreak. It was basically like, okay, here's Risen Crimson Glow Volstrax. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like with my slow ass gun lance, like he would I would start blocking. It's like, okay, you're going to be blocking all the way until you die. That's what happens now because there's no opening for you to sheathe now. So good luck. It's just so you hold up your block and then he hits you until he breaks your guard and slaps you away. It's like, okay. And then you pray, was the chip damage enough to kill me with the final slap or not? That was kind of like the way that would go. But yeah, that's not the thing that we're talking about.
Yeah, there's also the prevalence of counters that because when you give everything a counter, it gives you the excuse to do things like that. Because like, why aren't you using your counters? You got to use your counters and reposition elsewhere, or just counter all of the hits all at once. Yeah, I don't like the ubiquity of the counters. Only the lance and of course the longsword should have counters, and everybody else should have to make do with positioning things.
I find it interesting that you would say the longsword, because the longsword only got counters in Monster Hunter World. Before that, it was actually a much more straightforward weapon.
Yeah, I know, but see, the thing is, in my heart, I sometimes think the counter should go away, even for the longsword. But it's too much of the weapon's identity now. Like, you would delete the weapon if you just took them away. Like, that's all I've ever known. I came in with Foresight / ready-made for the weapon. And I played 3U. I played 3U with the longsword just to compare, and man, do I not want to go back to that. I do not want to go back to
I like 3U's longsword. I played 3U's longsword because I was playing with a friend of mine who would play with a bow, and so we needed a reliable way to chop tails, and Gunlance wasn't going to do that. So I just fine, I'll grab this longsword thing and I'll chop the tails whenever we need tails. So I'd be running around and just doing that vertical slash until the tail came off. I'm just like, yep, I'm hacking away at this. It's like you're mining a node, like slowly and waiting for it to come out.
I prefer it even in 4U, even though I know it's weaker because it didn't have the 3 spirit levels in 4U. But you don't even fade slash. When you do a fade slash, you can't do you can't fade slash into a spirit combo. Yeah. Can't do it. What the hell?
Yeah, man.
Not just old, really old.
Yeah, some old stuff for you right there. But yeah, so that is just to express for people that, like, when we're talking about difficulty, we're not talking about hyper aggressive monsters that zoom all over the place, and it's all about twitch reflexes, which is most likely what we're going to be getting with the upcoming 8-star Gormagala. And I'm like, that's cool, but I was like, I thought that was the Rise Sunbreak experience, because I like the contrast. So I'm like, yeah, that was fantastic in Rise Sunbreak, okay? It's not something that I want to do all the time, though, okay? I'm 43 years old. My reflexes are going down, okay? It's like, I'm not a young, spry gamer anymore. I'm in my what do they call them? Not Twilight years. The one,
golden years?
Golden year? Is it golden years? Yeah, I'm in my golden years now, okay? I need my slower games. But yeah. So let's talk about focus mode. Do you think we ever go back from focus mode?
I hope so. I've given this a lot of thought, whether it was possible to do it, and my conclusion is I don't care if it's possible. I think we have to. And what convinced me, what made me so adamant on it, is I saw a charge blade run, and so like I never considered that the charge blades, like swinging around animation, you could focus mode with it, because another thing that I objected to in my video was like I don't like how little positioning matters where it used to matter a lot. Even in World, it mattered a lot. The way you were facing it, there was a commitment in the amount of time it takes to do an attack, but there's also a positional commitment. The greatsword is a great example of both. It had all the commitment and all the positional commitment. You had to do it right, or you were just going to constantly whiff. And I think that was a good for the weapon. So now I see this charge blade, and it's a paralyzing charge blade, and it's just swinging, and it's just tearing this monster, but can't move. It can't do anything. Like this poor Arkveld's just getting chopped up. So and then he's using focus mode to like angle the thing. So no matter in which direction it's going, it's just constantly swinging around in the circles, just chopping and chopping. I'm amazed. I was appalled by it. If he couldn't use focus mode, he would have to stop and reposition between some of this. But at this rate, Arkveld maybe gets up for a second, tries to move, and then either falls back down or gets paralyzed again. It was crazy.
I love how you're depicting Arkveld as like this poor innocent creature just getting mowed down by this vicious charge blade user. And it's like, oh, you mean Arkveld, the guardian monster that was like eating the other monsters because it wanted to, not even for sustenance. It's like, oh, I guess I'll snack on these dudes because I just kind of feel like it. I'm just gonna snack on them.
No, I feel bad for it. I see Nata's perspective now. I was after seeing that
Nata
charge
was
blade.
right.
Nata was right. It's like he's a good boy. Leave him alone.
He's just learning how to live. Yeah, so you think we should go back from focus mode? I absolutely agree, because we can't go back to the commitment playstyle that we were talking about without focus mode. And it's funny because during my review period, I was playing without focus mode toggle. I was playing it manually, right? And I only do focus mode to reposition during the full blast combo, because full blast starts like throwing yourself all over around. Without focus mode, it's almost impossible to use full blast properly whenever monster just like slightly moves himself. So I was using focus mode just for that. And then when the game came out and people started making videos about something that I hadn't noticed, because it's such a friggin' minutia thing, but the forward momentum that you get with focus mode is insane. You know about this at this point, right? Because you've seen the stuff and whatnot.
Maybe, like, you mean just for Gunlance or for everything?
For everything. Every weapon just moves forward more when you're in focus mode.
When you have focus mode.
Like, way more.
Okay.
With the Gunlance specifically, which was the one that I tested, because obviously it's my weapon, it was like, if you go to Alma in the training area, and you just start lunging forward with the Gunlance, and you do like a bunch of lunges to try and get to the monster, it would take, I think, like, I wasn't just doing lunges, I was doing the combo, the regular combo that you would do, not full burst, but just like regular melee combo. And I was doing the melee combo, and it'd be like 3 things before I get to the dummy with focus mode on, and without focus mode, it'd be like 5, be like 4.5 or something like that before I would eventually get to the dummy. So it was like way longer to get to where I was trying to get to. So just like playing toggle focus mode in every weapon that you can do it without experiencing any fallback is just, from a movement perspective, it's always superior. Always, always, always. Unless you can stick into the monster like glue, like maybe dual blades would probably not be affected by this because you just move so fast anyway. But like any weapon that's slightly slower, being always in focus mode, from a momentum standpoint, there's always an advantage.
Just a net benefit. I didn't notice that, no.
Yeah, it's absolutely
But it makes
insane.
sense.
Yeah. And so that is one of the things. And then there's also the other thing that I was telling you, that like the correction thing, it is very, very different. Like if people actually go into test in world and try to correct their moves with and without focus mode, you'll be able to correct things more in world than you will ever be able to correct in wilds, which was actually something that upset me, because I'm like, well, what if I don't want to play with focus mode? Now you're kind of like forcing me to play with focus mode to get the same benefits that I would get in world, which is a strange nerf to do. It's kind of like forcing people, no, you have to use focus mode. Because I used to think that, particularly after having played it at Gamescom and then playing the betas, I was like, you don't have to use focus mode except to check for wounds and do focus strikes. And now I'm like, no, if you want to play optimally, you have to use focus mode.
There's a lot of small things that I don't know. I guess people don't care, but it bothers me. But there's a lot of small things that you had to kind of get good at to be able to do without focus mode back in world. So like, for example, the foresight slash. So if a monster attacked you and he was in front of you, but then he would end up behind you when his attack ends, then you needed to see that, know that would happen, and then foresight slash in a weird angle so that you're angling, 45 degrees to the right behind you, and then angling further behind you so that you end up hitting him when he is behind where you were originally. It's a little hard to describe. But now that you've got focus mode, you don't got to fuck with any of that. You can do that, obviously, but Now you can just look at him, and the foresight slash will take you wherever you want to go. When you special sheathed, you could special sheath, and sometimes you would need to special sheath and look behind you. So when you do the EI Spirit Slash, you would go in the direction you wanted. But now you can special sheath, and you can still go in focus mode and look around while you're still in special sheath, and then you can go in that direction. There's like a lot of little limitations that you used to have that bug me that you don't have now in focus mode.
What if I was to
is the
tell
reason
you?
for it.
What if I was to tell you that sounds a whole lot clunky to me? What's your response?
I like clunky. I like my clunky pasta sauce.
I like clunky. That's a good one. But yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to get rid of focus mode at this point. Like, I think it might just become a feature, because it's kind of like the same thing with the Palamutes. Like, we didn't get the Palamute. We got a Palamute
but we did
on
get
crack.
The sacred.
We got a Palamute.
Yeah.
It's a Palamute on crack for all, except it doesn't fight. But it does everything else the Palamute did better, which is...
Yeah, if anything, why are people mad at me? For voicing this, you should be happy. If you're happy, you're happy. I realize that it's unlikely that I'll get what I want going forward. Winners should be happy. I'm happy when I win. I won with Elden Ring. I'm perfectly satisfied with Elden Ring. Some people aren't, but I don't go and berate those people. I'm super happy with the way Elden Ring turned out. I don't go bother them about it. But again, that's me bitching about my poor streamer. Okay, we'll move on.
Let's move on from that. So the other thing is, I know you didn't like the story. Yeah, I think you said you hated it. Did you hate it, or did you say you actually hated it? Yes,
hated it.
That's what I remembered. I just didn't want it to misquote you. I wanted to make sure. It's like, I think he said he hated it. Like, not even he thought it was bad. He just hated it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you didn't like the story itself, but let's put it like this. What if it was a good story that you did like, right? Imagine in this world that, like, you actually really enjoyed the story. So now the question is, did you enjoy the narrative style versus the quest board style approach that we usually get in Monster Hunter?
In this world, I like the story.
In this world, you loved the story. You thought the story was great. Not the best thing ever, but you liked it.
No, because I even if I loved the story, even if it was the best thing ever, I still wouldn't like the narrative style. Okay. In my video, I didn't really criticize the story. I just said I don't like it. What I was criticizing was the structure of how they were telling the story. And by that, I suppose I mean the guardrails, the constant push to push you forward, and the fact that there was not a lot of side content to let you get immersed in the world. The side content is really important for me, and I realized this when I was playing 3U. I played 3U after Wilds, and 3U just has tons of optional, so many quests that you can just keep doing, and you don't know which ones are going to progress the story anyway, so you're just doing randomly. And I loved it. I loved it. Oh, go do this for this villager. Go do this for this villager. He asked for this. Go to Moga Woods, or I guess it's the deserted island, or whatever it's called, and get points so that you can get this thing for the village. That's the kind of thing I really enjoy. I mentioned the Palico thing in World. The reason why I like that so much is because it gives me an excuse to wander around the world, immerse myself in the environment, talk to the locals, like the felines, and then get a reward. They had all kinds of optional quests in World. Do an egg quest. Do a get an ingredient for the canteen by hunting this monster. Whereas in Wilds, that just disappeared. Okay. They did have optional quests, but it was always kill what you just killed.
So let's say there was optional quests there, and it wasn't on rails. So it's like after each major narrative beat, there's not like some obscure thing that it's just like, go talk to Alma, and you could actually go out while the thing says go talk to Alma. You can just go out and do whatever you want, rather than no, you have to go talk to Alma, otherwise you can't do anything else, right? So let's say there is side content, but the storytelling style is still the same, because I really just want to focus down on the way in which they told the story versus a traditional Monster Hunter experience of the quest board, right?
Why don't you describe to me how they told the story, so maybe I get a better idea what you're talking about.
I mean, they would tell the story the same way here, right? So you basically
No,
you have
no,
a
like explain how did Wilds tell the story?
Oh,
In your view.
how did they tell the story? I mean, it was just a sequence of quests, but there wasn't really like an official quest board. It's just like it's a chain of events that is just happening until you're done with when you kill Zoshio or whatever. It's just a chain of events that you keep doing. But there are some points where you can kind of branch out and do whatever you want. It's just those points are not super well explained. That's how I see what happened with Wilds.
And remind me what your question is.
But the hypothetical would be, so you have the side content that you wanted from World, right? You have all of that, and there's not as much guard railing as you have right now. So basically, the only point of comparison becomes you go on this adventure that you go in Wilds, and there's a story that you like, rather than before every hunt, you go to a quest board, you sign in, just like, okay, I want to go hunt this thing, and this happens to be the main quest. So it's like just comparing the two experiences. So what we've had before versus what we had with Wild. So just the structure of it. But an improved version. Okay.
I don't need the quest board. It's not important. If everything else was to my liking, I don't fucking need the quest board. Like, yeah, give me a series of things. That's fine.
Because that makes it harder for doing like multiplayer and stuff. But you don't do multiplayer, so you don't care.
No, I do like multiplayer. I like multiplayer a lot.
But you'd be comfortable doing it at the end of the experience rather than throughout.
Well, I think that we should encourage Capcom to integrate multiplayer throughout the experience in a seamless way, and to not do this thing where you have to look at the cutscene before your friends can join.
Yeah.
That should just be the standard after this. I can't believe it's not a standard this time. But I think that needs to stop. They need to stop doing that.
Yeah, like I didn't test a whole lot of multiplayer before the game came out, because obviously there's not a whole lot of people. I think I did a couple of quests with Cowboy or whatever, but I didn't really go to, because there was a Discord server where you'd be in there with a bunch of people that were reviewing the game. But I'm just like, when I got added to that Discord server, there were people already at Hunter rank 60. And I was like, oh, well, that's not going to be a very balanced experience if I try to party up with literally anybody. So it's like, it's probably not going to be very good. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just play by myself. And then when I get to the end of it or whatever, I'll do a couple of hunts with Cowboy and I'll figure it out. But yeah, so with that, with the thing of the multiplayer, the other thing that I wanted to bring up is that, did you try running open lobbies at all with your community?
No, I didn't play multiplayer at all in Wilds.
Yeah. It's actually, like, you're talking about they should streamline that aspect of it. You have no idea. Okay? So to give you an idea.
I did it in the beta test. It was rough.
So to give you an idea, I was trying to figure out, okay, can I get one of those 100 lobbies private and just let people join in and, we can do our things? Because you would assume that'd be something that you could do, right?
Yeah.
Wrong. Can't do that. So if you make a private lobby, there's like a strict limit of players. I think it's like 10. And I'm like, okay, well, there's like a little bit more than that here that probably want to play. So we have to do something bigger. So we can't do a private lobby. The other option is you can go into a public lobby. But I'm like, well, I don't want to go into a public lobby flooded with people from my community and essentially take over a public lobby for all intents and purposes. I kind of feel like that's a little bit rude. So let's not do that. So what can we do? We can do a squad lobby, and that can hold up to 50 people. And I'm like, okay, let's do that. And you'd think that would be a seamless thing. But when I describe to you what happened afterwards, it's going to blow your mind. So here's how it works. I make a squad lobby, limited to 10 players. You're like, but you said there was 50. It's like, yeah. So here's what happens. When 10 people join your squad, it says, hey, you've reached the player limit, but it's okay. We're going to give you a better squad lobby that will support 20 players. But in order to do this, we will now disconnect everybody from this lobby. And then you rejoin the new lobby, and it now has a 20-player limit. And then 20 players join. And guess what happens then? We're now going to disconnect everybody again, and we're going to give you a 30-player lobby. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, what do you do? So I'm like sitting there for like 10 minutes or something with people joining the squad until the squad fills up with 50, and then we have a 50-player lobby. And I'm just like getting disconnected 5 times before we get there. And I was like,
I did not no idea that that's how that worked.
I was
had
like,
no clue.
How? It's like there's that. Like, I love this game, but come on, man. Like, what are you doing?
Is that to save so that they don't give everybody these 50-player lobbies? They don't want everybody to have them?
I have no idea what the reasoning is. And it's like, let's also face it, right? The reality is a majority of the player base is not running around with 50 people that they want to put in a squad. This is a streamer problem. This is a content creator problem. So I think it's okay for them not to have thought it all the way through, but it still feels really wonky to just like, oh yeah, you've just got 10 members on your squad. Guess what? We're going to turn it off now and we're turning it back on. You guys join back. It's like, it's a weird thing to do. But yeah, but going back to the narrative thing, I've been thinking whether I prefer narrative style versus quest board, and I actually miss the quest board experience a little bit. Like, I like both styles, but I miss urgent quests.
Oh.
Which you still have, but you don't even know they're an urgent quest almost. You have to like actually be paying attention and be like, oh, this is the urgent quest. This is the one. Like, you go and maybe repel Uthduna. I think that one is. See, I can't even remember if Uthduna is one of the urgent quests. I know for damn sure Anjanath was an urgent quest. So, you know, that's the thing. I kind of miss that aspect of it, of knowing like, oh, this is an urgent quest. This is the one that levels me up. This is the one that I get to go fight harder things after this one. And I thought that was cool. And I do feel that we do lose out on a little bit by not having that be as obvious as it is. But at the same time, I actually like the story. So it's very conflicting, right? Because I want both things. I want to have the story, but I also want to have the multiplayer seamlessness that we had with like Rise. With Rise, you could just join me midway through the story. This wouldn't be a problem at all. We can just all play together. Yeah. There's no cinematics where the players show up. I think there might be a couple for some special monsters or whatever. But like for the most part, there's no player cinematics. You just watch the Japanese haiku thing or whatever, and then everybody's good to go. So I want that seamlessness. I want the urgent quests, but at the same time, I also like the narrative. I like the cinematics and all of that stuff. I thought there were some cool moments in there. So I'm very conflicted with that. But I do want, if they keep going the cinematic route, I want them to at least make it very easy for people to understand, oh, this is an urgent quest. This is the big one. After this, you're going to be able to fight harder things, which I feel like it wasn't quite as present this time around.
Was there really even urgent quests? Like, it was just one quest after another. Like,
I mean, some of them are considered urgent. I forget if they're explicitly identified in the story as urgent or not. But, you know, you can tell because, oh, we've been fighting 2-star things and now we're fighting 3-star things.
I guess I've associated urgent quests. It's like, you know, in the other ones, you don't know which quests are going to progress the main story.
You don't know the key
You're
quests,
just taking, you don't know the key quests. You're just taking quests. And the way I do it, I just do all the quests. I do every quest before I move on to the urgent quest, and then I do that, and then I do all the quests again. Even if I unlock it, I do the rest of them before I move on. I do prefer that, but I don't. Since there are no key quests and there are no let's do this mushroom shit thing, then it doesn't matter so much. You know, if Uthduna is an urgent quest, that unlocks a higher tier of monster, because it's just a progression of one to the next to the next. There's never go do the mushroom thing if you want.
Yeah, but in a world where we get the thing that you want, which is you want more side quests, that would be exponentially more important for you, wouldn't you say? Because now you don't get all the monsters in the main path.
Hmm. That's an interesting point. I hadn't thought of that. I'm gonna have to think of that more before I
Yeah.
can see what I prefer.
Yeah. But that's some of the stuff that we lost with the more quest board style. And I think it's an interesting question that I even posed to the audience themselves. Like, you guys let us know in the comment section, what do you prefer? The narrative style, the quest board style? I think that is a very interesting thing, because while we do get these cool cinematics and, I like the story, you didn't like the story, so some people like it, some people won't, it's whatever. But like, we do end up missing something about the structure of the game that we've always had, which is like the whole thing of, oh, I'm gonna go back to my base, gonna say hi to the what was her, the one that everybody liked, the something fiver.
Serious handler.
No, not the serious handler. Serious handler sucked. Okay, like everybody who's a serious. What? Yes, yeah, that's right. I said it. Yeah, I said it.
Maybe you should unsay it.
No. No, I said what I said, okay? I'll die on this hill. Handler over serious handler. Yes. I will dress Alma in that cosplay outfit. Don't mess with me, Ratatoskr. I'll do it.
No, you won't. No, you won't. I believe in you. You have to do this.
Don't push me.
What is with this anti-serious handler simping?
Okay, listen,
I don't understand.
I'm not against the serious handler, all right? I'm not against the serious handler. I just think that way too many people glaze the serious handler way too much, all right?
Okay, but yes.
Wait, no, that's the wrong term. They simp over. Okay, yeah, because yeah. Listen, I'm Portuguese, okay? Leave me alone. Anyway,
she's very serious.
What? I'm very serious. What?
No, she's very serious.
She is very serious. Like,
she has some serious appeal.
Look at but it wasn't. It was another NPC. It was something fiver. I forget her name. Everybody liked her. It was one of the fivers that was in Astera, but I forget what her name was. But I know that everybody simped for her all the time.
Don't remember.
But anyway,
Felicita in Wilds is pretty nice.
Squad lady.
Yeah, squad lady.
Yeah, I like Alma. I'm big Alma simp. Alma simp all day, every day, straight up. And it's funny. Yeah. It's funny because before the game came out, big Gemma simp. Now I'm just like, no, I'm all Alma. Okay, it is what it is.
It's hard to not be all. She's great.
Yeah, she is awesome. And as a matter of fact, I had a podcast with another content creator, Preach Gaming, who told me that after playing through Monster Hunter Wilds, he needs his wife to tell him that the guild authorized the quest before they do the deed, because otherwise he can't do it anymore. It's done. Anyway,
I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks it like that. A lot of people in my chat when I was playing the game was like, they don't like it. They don't like that she's the one giving you the orders, even though I think like that's always how it's been with the hunting things. But I'm like, no, it's hot. No, it's hot. I like it like this. Shut up.
Not only that, like the very first time that showed up in a trailer, when she tells you that the guild authorizes you to hunt those Shaguma, I was like, I was blown away by it. I wouldn't shut up about it. Like for the next 2 weeks, that was all I was talking about in my videos. Like, you guys remember when she said the guild authorizes you to do the thing? Did you guys see that? I went crazy because it's always the thing that you think about, because when you go to the quest board and there's a quest lady that is handing out these, this isn't like something random. You're not going to just kill a monster to make a funny hat. There's a reason why you're hunting this monster, which unfortunately Wilds also fails on there a little bit with the quest descriptions and stuff. Because if you go to the older games, the quest descriptions are very detailed. It's like you're putting down like this Tetsukabra because he's been ravaging people's plantations and crops and stuff like that. Like he needs to be put down because otherwise the villages are in danger, and it is what it is. He's become too aggressive or something like that. And there's always a reason why you're doing this stuff. It's just most people never bother to look into it, but it exists.
Yeah, it explains why you have a handler in the first place.
Yeah.
What the guild handlers are. You can't hunt people without authorization. You can't hunt stuff without authorization. And that's what they've been doing for you this whole time. We just never realized how important it was. It's like it's a field handler. They have the authority to to tell you can hunt a thing out in the field when you're not next to civilization. You don't have a quest board right there with you.
And that was something that I do remember we talked about in the other podcast. I don't know if that ever made it into the final cut or not. But yeah, that was something that in particular, I've always, I didn't realize how much power the handlers had when you see them wield that power in Wilds, which is another thing that I really liked about the story. It's just like, you really understand, like, no, this handler can make the call because she doesn't have the guild on the line. It's like, hey, can we take out those Shaguma? It's like, no, she looks, assesses the situation and says, okay, Hunter, it's time to murder this thing, which also makes the final moment more impactful when your Hunter just goes like, I don't need your authorization. I'm taking him out. It's done by my order. I decide. And, to be fair, according to the story, 2 guild knights should be swiftly dispatched to kill our Hunter at this point because you can't do that. You can't just decide, by my own order, by your own what? Bro, that's not how this works. By your own order.
Those guild knights were getting bodied by the Gormagala. They're not going to do nothing.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah, that's right. Those 2 are guild knights, man. They're kind of weaklings, huh? Kind of sucks. Anyway, another thing that we talked about, and then somebody brought up in your comment section, in that comment that I pasted to you, was the multiplayer scaling. I think both of us agree that there should just be multiplayer scaled quests. And especially now that you have the whatchamacallit, the companions. Now that you have the companions, you should, because this was what somebody brought up, because both you and I kind of forgot that companions exist, I feel like, because we don't use them.
Yeah, I just don't use them, yeah.
So we kind of just forget they're even there. That's even an option. But somebody pointed out that, like, you could just have companions for the people that don't want to play in multiplayer. And what this would allow them to do would be like, okay, listen, companions will make it so that you can do the quest fine. But other players will always be better and still challenging. And this would be kind of like the ideal way of handling things. Like, say you can do solo quests in low rank, then when you get to high rank, everything is just scaled up to 4, and that's it.
Yeah, and then you can summon the companions if you're by yourself, or you can engage with the multiplayer. Yeah,
I think that would be, actually, considering that now we have the companion system, that would be the best way of doing it. And you could even Go ahead.
You convinced me on this, the last conversation we had. I wasn't sure about it, but then you were so emphatic. You're like, you know what? He's right. We got to do that. It's a better solution.
Yeah, I just feel that way. And I know that, again, some people say, well, I like playing solo. It's like, you can use the companions. It's done. And the other thing is, this also enables them to add new systems wherein you could potentially customize the companions, and you could have like a whole mini game around it where you'd be like, like for instance, for me, I'm going to have 4 Gunlance players, bro. This is going to be amazing. For the first time ever, I've never had a hunt where I could have 4 people with a Gunlance. Can you believe that? Not once.
Gonna get cluster bombed. That's what you're gonna. But I guess it wouldn't matter since none of them would be close to it.
No, but it's like, I think it would be really cool and to be able to customize it. I think that there are other hunting games that do that, right? Yeah, like Soul Sacrifice does that. You could customize your companion Soul Sacrifice, the spells that they use and all of that stuff. And I don't know if Toki then does that or not. I think, no, in Toki then they come pre-made. But yeah, I know that there's been other hunting games where you can kind of like customize the stuff that your companions are using. And that would be a whole nother system that they could introduce to it as well. So that when you're playing with friends, that's going to feel even better than playing with the companions. But when you're playing with the companions, you're customizing them, you're crafting stuff for them. Hell, it gives you more reasons to hunt, because you'll be like, oh dude, what if I have like this companion with this sick hunting horn and I got to go hunt this monster, get this hunting horn, make a hunting horn set for him, all of that stuff. It just seems like a complete
that's kind of cool.
That's
kind of cool.
You can even think of like a system where you don't start with 4 companions. You start with 1 companion and you slowly grind them up a little bit, and then somebody else joins the party. Now there's 3 of you. You know, that would be like,
yeah.
Bro, I should be getting,
hire this man.
I should be getting paid by Capcom. I'm throwing out gold here. Come on. I'm going to have a conversation with Jono after this podcast. Okay, so this is like my final thing before we jump into the title update. What do you think of the potential for us to have 2 modes of play? Standard and classic.
What are the 2 modes?
And classic is obviously what we want, and standard is what we have right now.
No. They have to balance it for one or the other. I don't think there's ever been a really great example of them trying to divide their attention into something like this, and it turning out well. Like, what are they going to do? They'd be developing 2 games, because a lot of the things that we're asking for are really nuanced and weird, like especially when it comes to the pacing, the inconvenience. They can't make a whole game and carefully craft the pacing of the monsters and the limits of our movesets and the limits of what we can do, and then also develop a second game that's packaged that's $120 value right there. No, I don't think we should do that.
Imagine it like
we got to.
What if classic, even if classic mode was slightly half-assed? So they do it for standard mode and we get like a slightly half-assed classic mode.
I think I would just rather have.
Would you just rather not play? No, but let's say that happens. Would you rather not play?
I would rather. I'd play probably, but
would you play?
I'd rather just be
half-assed classic or standard?
No, like
you would play standard.
Yeah, I'd play standard, because like, especially as a reviewer, you're trying to review what most people are doing, and if there's like classic and standard, obviously the standard would be the most popular one. It's the ones that the game's balanced around. I like to see what the authorial intent is with it. I'm trying to experience the normal game mode.
I would play classic. I would play the half-assed classic.
Yeah,
straight up.
That's classic.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if we really think about it, that's what I did in my stream playthrough. I played the half-assed classic mode, and I had way more fun with the half-assed.
You had a lot of fun.
I had way more fun with a half-assed classic mode that I made up than playing standard. Way more fun. Like if we were grading it on a scale, which I never do grading on scales, but let's just say for my experience playing in both ways, right? I would probably give the review playthrough like a 6.
Damn.
And the other playthrough that I did a 9.
Damn, that's a big difference.
In terms of just straight enjoyment, how much I enjoyed playing the game in one way versus another one, that would be the level. So like, I still enjoyed playing the review. It's okay. It's okay. But playing it the way that I did afterwards was a million times better, like not even remotely comparable.
This might be the first time I say this about a video game, but in this case, I'm feeling kind of altruistic, and like, I would rather the classic mode not. I would rather them just to keep doing what they're doing. I guess do what you want. If you don't want to go in the direction that I think you should to Capcom, and you want to keep making the game faster and more accessible and easier, and adding systems that make it the way it is, then do it. You have my blessing, and it'll be fun for the people that enjoy it, and I'll come back to it and play it anyway. But it would end up making the standard mode better overall, because they poured all their attention into it, and maybe make a better game that's less for me, less tuned for me, but a better game overall.
Damn, less altruistic Ratatoskr. Oof.
Yeah, that's my maximum. That's my maximum altruism. That's the nicest I can be.
So let's talk about the title update. Did you play the first title update? I assume you have.
No, I didn't play the title updates.
Wait, you didn't play it at all?
No, I told you.
No, I thought the message that you had sent me is that you weren't going to play them after this one. Oh wow. I am very shocked that you did not play them at all.
No. I got distracted. I'm like, well, what happened was, I'm just like, I lost a lot of my initial passion to like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna keep ranting about it. It's like, rah, rah, rah. Mitsuzune is not to my liking for this or that thing.
But you're
like,
no, wait. You're supposed to be a grifter. What do you mean? Look at imagine all the hate clicks you can get.
Yeah, my bank account is weeping at the lack of hate clips. But now I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is amazing. I'm just being happy over here playing Xenoblade Chronicles. It's great. Everybody should play it.
Okay, so you decided that you weren't going to do the title updates. Okay, interesting, because I thought you had.
At least not for a while.
Okay, so you're gonna wait until we get like more title updates, because my idea for this podcast was even until I think somebody in my comment section came in and told me that you weren't gonna play the updates, because people were asking me, Rurikhan, what about the Ratatoskr podcast? And I was like, well, I think I'm gonna wait until the Blossom Fest, which is the first festival that we're getting, because then Ratatoskr and me will both have played the first title update plus a bunch of events from the Blossom, and there will be much more to talk about. And then some other person came in and said like, oh no, Ratatoskr is not playing any more title updates. And that's probably why in my mind it was like, okay, so he played this one and he decided he was not going to play them anymore. And then when you sent the message, my brain was already preconceived, formatted for like, okay, so he played the first one, he's not playing them anymore. But you didn't even play the first one because you're playing Xenoblade. Okay, so is there anything that you want to know about the title update, or do you don't even care right now about what?
No, not at the moment. I feel the best way is just going to like stockpile a bunch of them and then play them all at once. When there's a lot more to play. Okay.
So your intention is to wait until there's more title updates, and then you're going to go back and you're going to play through all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because my follow-up question was going to be if you were going to play Master Rank based on what you had experienced with the title update. But I guess that's
that for sure.
You're going to play Master Rank.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
So, and now let's imagine that. Let's imagine that you're somewhat disappointed with Master Rank.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Master Rank gives you about the same experience that you got with Wild. So it's basically more of Wild's, maybe a little bit more challenging. The only thing that will change is just like the level of challenge. So still not copious amounts of side quests and stuff for you to get immersed on. Still cracked Palico, still cracked Sacred, but basically more content, more hard, a couple more mechanics with the weapons.
Which is what I expect. It's what I expect.
Yeah. So let's say that that's the experience that you have. Are you going to play the next Monster Hunter game?
Maybe. The thing is, the next Monster Hunter game, if we take history into account, is going to be a portable title, even if it's not exclusively on the Switch too. And so if it is a portable title, it'll be more along the lines of Monster Hunter Rise, and they'll have even more license to be faster and super speedy. And I don't like Monster Hunter Rise that much.
Monster May Cry.
Yeah. At that point, I might just be like, I'll look at it and I'll make a determination then. But my real hopes of getting what I want out of Monster Hunter is probably, 10 years down the line or so when the next mainline title drops.
Man, I'm going to be 53 by then.
Yep.
Oh, man. It's going to take a while.
How long did it take for World? When did World come out? 2018?
World was
I guess
2018, so it was like 7 years.
7 years. 7 years. Yeah.
It's like 7 years down the line is...
Yeah, so after Master Rank, it'll probably be another 7 years, and before you have to... that meme, Monster Hunter's great when you don't have a bitch in your ear telling you about how much he hates it. Yeah, you won't have to hear it from me for another 7 years after.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, but funnily enough, you actually brought up the topic that I was talking about that got cut from our other podcast that I was super excited, which was Xenoblade Chronicles X. Because when you told me you were playing it, I was like, oh my God, he's playing the game that I keep telling everybody to play, and nobody does.
Well, it seems pretty popular now. A lot of people seem to like the definitive edition. I've seen tons of Xenoblade fans be like, oh, I can't believe I never played this. This is amazing. This is my favorite one. I think it might be my favorite one. It's my favorite one.
God.
Let me just go ahead and say it.
Thank friggin'. So you played all the other ones, right? I think we talked about this. Yeah, you played all the other ones, and you like Xenoblade Chronicles X the most.
Mm-hmm.
So here's where I'm always at when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles. This is what I always tell people. One has the best story, Xenoblade Chronicles
Yes.
1 has the best story. 2 has the best combat, and it's not even close. Base 2, not Torna. Torna's combat sucks ass. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely terrible. And then 3 is probably the most middling one of all of them, and it is the one that I like the least. I don't like the characters. I don't know if I particularly like the story. It is the only one that I haven't finished after having, I think I'm over 200 hours on it at this point. Still haven't finished the story, but I don't feel compelled to because the story hasn't grabbed me at all. The characters haven't grabbed me at all. Exploration in 3 is the worst exploration. It's not even, it's terrible.
Kind of gated. It's kind of gated, yeah.
It's like, the thing that you have with the guardrails in Monster Hunter Wild Story?
Yeah.
That's me in Xenoblade 3 all the time. Literally all the time. It was like every time that, okay, I'm done with this story bit. Cool. I want to go explore this area. Can't go there. I was like, what the hell? Invisible walls literally everywhere in this game. Terrible, atrocious. What are you doing? So that completely lost me on Xenoblade 3. Even though I've been told that like the DLC is phenomenal, but I can't play the DLC until I finish the main story.
The main game.
It's gonna take me a while to get there. And then Xenoblade Chronicles X for me is like the best exploration. And when I say the best exploration, I don't mean the best exploration in a Xenoblade game. I mean potentially some of the best exploration.
The best exploration
ever
in any game.
In any video game. And people always say, you're crazy.
A lot of time on it.
You're crazy, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but we need to talk about it. We 100% need to talk about it. So tell me your overall thoughts. Because now how many hours are you in at this point?
90 or something.
You love to see it.
I just got past chapter 10, so I don't know if I'm even halfway. I don't know how many more chapters there are. I don't know.
Yeah, we can't talk about spoilers at all because I don't want.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want because there's going to be a bunch of people that still haven't played it and they absolutely need to play it because it is that good. Like I'm assuming it still it also has your glowing recommendation, right?
It has. So it is almost perfect. It's kind of funny. Here, let me tell you some of how perfect
go
it
ahead.
is. So, Hresvelg is a new mech that you get in. I don't know if you played it. It wasn't in the original game, but it's Hresvelg.
No. So let me just tell you real quick. I only played the original. I haven't played this one yet because it came out and I'm covering Monster Hunter and I'm covering Path of Exile. And it's like, I love it, but I can only play so many games at once.
So it's a mech that wasn't in the original, and it's very set. You can't mess with its equipment, but it's a samurai thing. It's got a big long sword at the back.
Of course, bespoke. I'm gonna hate it. Yeah, okay.
No, you're gonna love it. It's so amazing. I'm not gonna tell you too much about it because it's pretty awesome. But it's the fact that it's a samurai thing. Here's the thing. I'm such a weeb. I'm an enormous weeb when it comes to katanas, and I use it in every game that I can, always making katana characters. Hresvelg is actually from Norse mythology. It's the eagle that's at the top of the world tree, and the squirrel Ratatoskr goes up and gossips to it, and then goes down to the bottom of the tree and gossips with Nidhogg. So it's like it's literally made for me because it's associated with the Ratatoskr thing. It's like, wow, why the fuck is it a samurai though? It's because they made it for me. Of course, that's why it's a samurai dude with a katana. It's amazing.
You're like, I don't even care that it doesn't make any sense. It's exactly how I like it.
So I love the story. I love the story. It's an incredible premise. The moment I saw the little plate out in space, like it starts off with the little plate out in space, the opening cutscene. That in real life, I think we sent that plate out into space to show our location. I was like, I knew that plate was gonna fuck us. Some Xeno scum was gonna find that plate, and look what happened.
Oh, it's good. No, I love the opening premise of the game. We're running away and all of that stuff, and then we land on Mira. And to me, the biggest thing that instantly called out to me, especially when I was actually playing the game, because it already looked amazing in trailers back in the day. I was super hyped for it. And then eventually, I'm actually playing it. And that first time that you approach New LA, you're like, I've never seen scale done this way in any video game ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's so massive, and it actually looks massive. It's not like in other games where, things are usually scaled down for gameplay purposes. And here they're just like, no, it's gonna be big.
No.
Big bonk, big, much big bonk. It's like, bro, crazy. The scale is insane.
Yeah, I love it. It's perfect. And so the way the stories are set up, so you have the chapter and you do the chapter, but so what I was like all these side quests all over the city. I love doing the fucking side quests around the city because they're kind of involved, and they unlock new side quests later on.
So let me tell you, the definitive version probably greatly improved on those, because those side quests, I remember at least some of them were annoying as balls, dude. They were terrible Japanese, the real actual traditional JRPG, old school stuff that is like, there was some of that jank in there. I remember that. So I believe that a lot of them have been made better in the definitive edition.
Yeah. I've heard some stories of how things used to work in the old game.
Yeah.
And like people have been describing it to it as I stream, and it does sound awful. It's like, man, I'm really glad that they fixed it. And some people were like, sounds good to me. That sounds okay. Well, I'm glad they disagreed with you.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Then we get another flop like that instead of me liking the game so much. But so I could. So my first time, I'm in love. I'm exploring all the different areas. I'm getting I'm unlocking the map, making fast travel points, and then I finish every side quest, even the blue ones. I finished all the blue ones, all the green ones, all the ones I could. And I was like, all right, now let's go do a story mission. I do one story mission. I come back. They're all back. There's like so many fucking new green side quests everywhere. The whole map's literally, after every mission. It's like, okay, it's time to spend another 6 hours doing side quests before.
My thing in that game was the probes. I was a fiend for the probes. I was like, and the thing is, I don't know, I think I've only done the basic probe because I only did one stream to show off the game a little bit. I don't know how they're using it, but like in the old game, and this was the reason they said they couldn't port it, is because in the old game, you would always have the map on the Wii U gamepad. So the Wii U gamepad was always on with the map always on, and I was always looking at the map and going like, oh, okay, we got to go here, get this little probe thing, go here, get that one. I was running all over the map just looking for probes. I was a fiend, and that was like one of the big things about the exploration. And then I'd get there and it's like, oh, I can't place a probe here yet because of this thing. I need like some high quality probe or some nonsense or whatever it was. And then you'd have to go around.
They got rid of that.
Yeah. So I did a bunch of those, and I was just addicted to it. I was like, I want to build out the whole frontier nav thing, and I very rarely get that invested in exploring something.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just I was not even unhappy that we didn't have the mech to begin with, because it's like, man, I'm having so much fun just with the ground combat and the ground exploration. And when you're low level, the game's not even an exploration game. It's a fucking stealth game, because there's like everything's level 40. Everything's 40 levels above you, and you have to run away from everything. It's great.
See, that's the thing, and a lot of people don't like that. It's that level of aggression where you can't just go ahead and fight everything. To me, I was like, this is brilliant, because I'm someone who comes from an MMO background, so dodging mob aggro radius is very much ingrained in me. So when I was playing this game, I was like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. I just need to figure out what their aggro radius is, and then I can kind of like go around them. So very early on in the game, I was going like to, I think it's called Noctilum, right? The bioluminescent forest. It's called Noctilum.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
I can't believe I still remember that name, but like, because that's how much it stuck with me. I was going to Noctilum, and then the time would pass, and it'd be night, and that's when I first realized, wait, this place is like all bioluminescent. Oh my God, this place is gorgeous. This is insane. And so I'm running around, and it's just like, I'm level, I don't know, 10, 15. I forget what level I was when I get there. Everything around me is like 50 levels higher. And it just gives you this feeling of like, oh my God, I can't make a single mistake or I'm dead. But you can still pick up like materials that will be useful. Maybe not now, but maybe later. You can be picking those up. And because you can jump really high, you can jump on top of mushrooms and go to areas you're technically not meant to be in. Dude, the amount of time I spent jumping on top of mushrooms in Noctilum, I must have spent like countless hours doing that stuff. And then going even further into the enemy territory until you get to a point where it's like, we don't even tell you the level of the enemies anymore and their aggro radius because you're so low level, they will chase you from the other end of the map. Good luck. And I was still trying to like sneak past those places. It was so cool. I loved it. But that's the thing, right?
The thing is that the side quests will take you to places you're not supposed to be in. And then like, okay, go here and kill this thing. I'm like, okay, it says it's a recommended level, 21? Brilliant. I'm 23. I can do that. But everything along the way to that fucking spot is level 60. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you... Oh my God, okay. So you can do affinity quests, but once you do you say you're going to do an affinity quest, you can't back out of it. You can't undo it. You're going to finish the affinity quest before you can do the main story or anything else. You're doing that affinity quest. And so there was this affinity quest for Hope, a character to get the character. And I didn't look at what it was asking me to do. So I just like, yeah, let's do it. And then it's like, okay, go all the way to fucking Calderos at the tippity top of the map.
By the way,
everything else.
Calderos, for everybody that doesn't know, Calderos is like, isn't it one of the super end game areas? Probably
it's the end game.
It's the actual end. I didn't want to say it was the last one. I thought it was. I didn't want to say because I don't remember it, but yeah.
Well, it's at the very edge. Like it's the one at the very edge. I guess there's no end game areas so you can go anywhere on the map, but it's at the very edge. It's like furthest away from you.
It's the one with the highest level monsters. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm looking at this. I haven't even been to Silvalum yet. I've never been to Silvalum, and it's asking me to go past Silvalum to Calderos, and I'm like, I get there, and it's just a journey. I streamed the whole thing, so I finally get like right before I enter Silvalum, I'm looking at this ocean, I'm looking at Calderos, and I'm like, I wonder if I can just swim it. I don't want to go through the land route dodging monsters the whole way. I wonder if I can just swim to it. And so I like, okay, I'm going for it. And so I swim for like 40 minutes trying to get past to avoid having to do the continent. It worked though. So
exactly.
It was fun. It was great.
But that's the thing. They give you so many ways of doing things that you just feel really good when you figure out something out of the box. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to dodge past this monster. It was insane. I absolutely love that aspect of it. And the how'd you feel about the combat? Because it's kind of like MMO type combat, but I feel like they've improved it a little bit from the final version because it feels more intuitive now.
Well, it's like, it's not that different from the other Xenoblade games, but I do think it's probably the best combat out of the series.
I mean,
I think. Go ahead.
It's like I was just gonna say that I can't actually make an assessment on that because I don't know how much improvements they've made because I don't remember what the combat was exactly. I do remember that I loved the combat of 2 because of setting up the combos and then bursting all of them at once. That also always felt good. But
so here's what I like about it. I love the build making for it. So the way that it works is that you'll pick a class, and if you get to the edge of the tree of that class, you will then be able to equip the weapons that class uses, regardless of whatever class you're using. So if you get to the edge of the tree and then go to a different class and you start learning that class. And also there are passive skills that you unlock for completing those classes.
Yeah.
So then you can take those passive skills and put them anywhere. So you can really build your character how you like, and make really interesting builds. So, well, I'm not going to describe a lot of the builds. It is a little too easy though. It's really easy to break the game by accident. But apart from that, I like the build making systems that they have available.
I like those significantly more than the ones on 3 because I'm like, okay, 3 is maybe a bit much because like, okay, I can multi-class the crap out of my own character and I can multi-class the crap out of 7 other characters and you have to manually do all of that stuff. And I'm just like, no. It's because
that's too much.
On top of it, you don't even get like CP if you significantly overlevel the monster. And if you play on, I don't know if you played 3 on normal or hard difficulty. I played it on hard, and I was like, it's terrible. It's atrocious. It's really bad. Like, there were bosses where I was like 10 levels above them. And this is because, I was experimenting to see how much more powerful I would need to be. And, maybe my builds were not amazing or whatever. I'm not saying they were. But, like, I was 10 levels above them, and they would one-shot me. And I was like, okay, this is just stupid. Because even if my build's not that great, like, I know that I have a bunch of defensive stuff. I'm playing the tank because the NPCs can't hold aggro for crap. So I'm like, I'm playing the tank, and this thing just like, dead. And the healers can't heal for crap either. There was a moment where I was actually micromanaging every class in hard mode in Xenoblade 3. And I was just like, okay, healers, you're slacking. I'm taking over. It's kind of like the Mass Effect 2 thing where the dude's taking over the collectors or whatever. It's like, I will assuming control.
Direct control.
Assuming direct control. That was me. I was swapping between healing, tanking, damage dealing, because not even the damage dealers were dealing enough damage. I'm like, I have to do everything. I might as well be playing this as an RTS at this point. So it's like, yeah, playing that on hard was terrible. But yeah, no, I
just didn't like the ability to switch between characters, and I didn't like it. I don't want to play as like in the middle of the combat. No, too much.
I think
too many choices.
I think it's fine to let people switch between characters as long as it is not expected of you to do so. Because personally, I don't like swapping characters mid-combat, but I know that a lot of people do. A lot of people love swapping characters mid-combat, and I think that's cool. If you want to swap characters, do whatever, go right ahead. Usually the way that I like it is I want to play my character, and then I want to set up like AI triggers for the other characters. Like, hey, if I'm below 25%, like I think we did that in Mass Effect and Dragon Age Origins for sure.
Dragon Age Origins, yeah, that's a great example. Yeah, I think Final Fantasy 12 had it. I don't remember too much though. But yes, that's what I would like.
Yeah, be able
the
to
AI in X is very stupid though.
It's an old game. It's an old game, man. that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. But yeah, it's just a phenomenal game that I kind of feel like everybody should explore. So I do want to ask you something that is spoilery, but just to get your vibe on it. There's a moment in the story, I think it's like chapter 5.
Yes.
Where something very significant happens and a big reveal happens. How'd you like that?
Oh, I loved it. It's exactly the kind of... See, I'm really in favor of these like humanity's trying to survive stories.
Yeah.
And it's very... I like this glorification of humanity out in space trying to do anything they can to survive. And so when I saw that moment, and I'm realizing why they're looking for what they're looking for and what's actually going on with that. I was just, I could feel my human pride swelling in my heart. Like, this is amazing. Glory to mankind, Nier Automata.
It is friggin' awesome. And the thing about that moment is that that got spoiled for me.
No. How?
In the review guide.
Oh, of course.
And it's actually, no, it's not even a review guide. It was like the email they sent me because I received the review code for that. And I was like, I'm just reading through, making sure, okay, what type of content can I capture? What things can and can I stream? And it's like, by the way, don't show this thing where this event happens and this thing happens, and make sure not to reveal anything about this very important key pivotal moment in the story in your review. And I was like, gee, thanks. Thank you so much.
Could they have been more vague?
No, it was there was zero vagueness. Okay, they literally explained everything that has happened. I was like, oh wow! Like, I literally stopped reading the rest of the review document when I got to that point because the spoilers got worse. They got like to the point they tell you the end of the game.
No.
It is, and it's like it's okay to put that in a review document so long as, like, by the way, there's spoilers ahead, so go enjoy the game now and then come back to check.
Don't talk about chapter 5's thing.
No,
Don't talk about chapters 10 thing.
They were very specific in describing everything to the point, like I said, they spoiled the ending of the game in that document with no warning. And I was like, bro, this story is so cool. Why would you do this? Why? But yeah, I'm super happy that you're enjoying it. And we need more people to play this game because I've been screaming this game from the rooftops like all the time. Like, you need to understand, every time there was a Nintendo Direct, every time since the Switch has been out, I was like, guys, this is the one. Xenoblade Chronicles X 100%. This is the one.
Is there a reason why you only streamed it that one time?
The reason why I'm not streaming it, because it will destroy my channel in the algorithm.
Right, yeah, I figured.
Literally the only reason, because otherwise, I would probably be streaming that thing like 24/7 alongside Monster Hunter, and I would probably have waited on the Path of Exile update.
Jeez.
Like, I like it that much. What, Xenoblade Chronicles X 2?
2, yes, because I would very much like one.
No,
please.
It's never going to happen.
No.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. And this is something that I've said repeatedly. People are probably sick of me saying it. Monolith Soft it's not even criminally underrated. It would be, the crime would be that of genocide to the level of how underrated this company is. I'm not exaggerating. Like, they're probably some of the most talented developers in this industry, among the top talent in the entire industry. Okay.
Yeah. They're very good.
They're not just criminally underrated. They are brutally disrespected by Nintendo. Nintendo has them just do bitch work. Did they even get credited for the work they did in Breath of the Wild? I don't even remember if they were credited for
we know that they worked on it, so they must have gotten credit.
I forget if they were credited. I forget if they were even credited in the thing. They probably were, but it was probably like a minor mention somewhere near the end of the fucking credits. Okay, like, the reason Breath of the Wild is 1/10 the good as it is because of fucking Monolith Soft. Okay, people do not understand.
Heard about that.
It's the same thing with Tears of the Kingdom. And I even before I played it on stream, I even asked people, because I don't play Pokemon games because I think they're irredeemable slop from Game Freak. Game Freak is just a disgusting developer. They deserve nothing, no credit for nothing, have zero creativity. Okay,
maybe they should get some Monolith Soft though, because
no, but listen, that's the thing. Okay, I asked people, what was the latest Pokemon that you felt was probably the best one? And almost universally, they said Arceus. Guess who made it happen?
I didn't know they worked on Arceus, actually.
Yes,
that's funny.
Exactly. Monolith Soft. And I'm just like, bro, get the fuck out of it. They're brutally disrespected. Because again, like, we say Monolith Soft, and I guarantee you that probably 80% of the people listening to this podcast, they have no idea who Monolith Soft is. And it's disgusting. It's like, bro, it's crazy. It's fucking insane that these guys are so underrated. And it's like the wizardry, okay, of putting this game on the Wii U, let alone the wizardry of putting it on the goddamn Switch. Okay.
For 10 gigabytes less than the original Wii U version.
Exactly. And then you put that game side by side with the next Pokemon that they showed at the Switch Direct. And it's like, oh, it's an art style. Art style my ass. It's lack of talent, okay? It's lack of talent, pure and simple, okay? You can't compare. But yeah.
I don't know anything about Pokemon games. I haven't played any Pokemon games.
You're better off.
I'm kind of interested in playing one, but every time I think about playing one, anytime a new Pokemon game comes out, all of the Pokemon hands just seethe and mauled about the new Pokemon game. Just complain endlessly. So it just scares me away. It's like, man, these fuckers hate Pokemon.
But you want to know the best part?
They'll take 20. They'll take 20.
Exactly. I hate this game. I'll take 2 of those, please. Give me the X and the Y, the black and the white, the scarlet and the violet.
Yes. Yeah.
The shield and the sword. It's like, bro. Yeah. Whatever,
I've never seen it. Like, everybody says this about stuff, but no, it's not to this degree. Like, they really mad, and their wallets are very open.
It's so weird. Yeah. It's like, listen, the biggest thing, okay, besides the art style and the fact that Pokemon basically don't animate at all, like, in case you didn't know, like, their animation is like they'll do a little hop.
Well, they have no
and it's
voice
like,
actors. I saw a little clip. I saw a little clip of like an action sequence in a cutscene, and there's no voice acting, but there's not
there's
even
nothing.
noises. There's nothing. It's just text.
The budget for those games is like in the billions or something. At least, no, not the budget, the profit. The profit for this game is in the high billions, and they don't put anything back into the game. They just get the profits, and then they just puke out irredeemable slop time and time again, and people just keep consuming it. It's
Okay,
it's
but that does
simple.
not mean that we're not getting a Xenoblade Chronicles X 2.
Yeah, but the point is, like, a lot of people don't know who Monolith Soft is. Nintendo just has them do bitch work, including for Pokemon. And
Okay,
it just
but a
almost
lot of
feels
people
like
do
they don't
now.
give them.
They're not so obscure anymore. Like the 3 was at the Game Awards, you know. Wasn't it nominated for Game of the Year? Like people, they're not as obscure as they were after 1. So like people know
Like, listen,
this thing that you've. Yeah, go ahead.
When Xenoblade Chronicles X came out, I don't know if I've told you. I've told this story a million times. I don't know if I told it to you specifically, but like, I was at this event at Nintendo Portugal. And so I'm at this event, and there's other people there. There's people from like Portuguese publications and stuff like that. And I'm talking to this guy, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, we're doing this publication for, we're doing this article about the best soundtracks of this year, and Witcher 3 is going to win." The guy tells me. I was like, "Oh yeah, Witcher 3 is pretty cool." And I was like, "Oh, what'd you guys think about Xenoblade Chronicles music?" And he gives me the most dismissive, snobby, arrogant look, as if like Xenoblade Chronicles X soundtrack isn't even worthy of being mentioned. At that moment, I was just like, "Oh, I get it now. Okay, no, that's okay. No, it's fine. Okay, whatever." I kind of gave up on humanity a little bit at that moment. I was like, "Oh, so you guys have no respect for this brilliant soundtrack." Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, sure, it's got some cringy soundtracks in there too, but
maybe that's not universal, because like a lot of people will snub their noses at like a Mario game, but that doesn't mean that Mario doesn't sell tons and has a huge number of fans. You know, people will turn up their noses at Zelda games even, or anything that is on a Nintendo exclusive. But that doesn't mean that they're not outnumbered actually by the number of people that are buying Pokemon, for example. So it's still obviously this isn't at the level of a Pokemon game or a 10 million,
yeah, of course,
Zelda seller, but still, I think people know Monolith at this point. Like I don't think we're at that
to think so.
time anymore. So here's the thing that I'm upset about. Where the fuck's my Xeno game on Switch 2 release day? Why am I even buying? What's the point of Switch 2? What am I even buying this for? Where's my lineup?
Exactly.
Where are my games?
That's the thing, and that's like, I wanted a new Xenoblade more in line with X, not 3. That's the other thing. I don't want more of 3. I want more of X, because X is clearly the superior one as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I don't know. But as we're kind of like coming up on Switch 2, so let's start by talking about Metroid Prime 4. You're the expert. You and fuck, get his name.
Ziostorm.
Damn it. Ziostorm. Sorry. My memory is atrocious. But yeah, you and Ziostorm, you're the experts. Like, what's going on with Metroid Prime 4? You guys liking it? You guys excited? What's the deal?
I don't like. There's not much to say other than what we've seen, but it looks great. Looks fantastic. I think it looks nice. I think it'll probably be the best looking game on Switch 2 for a super long time, just like Metroid Prime 1 was the best looking game on GameCube for its entire lifespan of the GameCube, and Metroid Prime Remastered was the best looking game on Switch for the entire time of Switch, graphic wise. I mean,
no, not anymore. Xenoblade Chronicles exists. Sorry.
Well, I mean, like just graphic, not art style, just straight graphical fidelity.
Okay,
you know, stability.
Okay, fine.
Graphics.
Fine,
Yeah.
be that way. You
Be
and your
that way.
performance. Fine. No, agreed.
Yeah, that'll be the case for that one. I'm super happy, super satisfied, and hopeful, which means that if my comments are to be believed, a month later I'm going to be like, this fucking game sucks. It's more like Metroid Prime 3 instead of like Metroid Prime 2 like it's supposed to be. Who the fuck cares about Metroid Prime 3? I don't care about the Federation storyline. Silex is Samus's brother. I don't give a fuck. Why is that the case?
Thanks for the spoilers. I never played Metroid Prime 3. Damn. Harsh.
Well, no, I'm just making stuff up. That's not actually what
Good save. Good save. I made it all up. The source in my head.
In my head.
But so with the Metroid Prime thing, the thing that I thought was funny is that Nintendo Direct, which was the one right before the Switch 2 Direct, it had nothing.
Had nothing.
Except for that.
It was miserable.
I remember I went into your stream and you're like, why aren't you doing your own show? I was like, what show? There's nothing to do. It's over. Oh, it's funny. But yeah, we should talk about.
You know, I was coping after that one. It's like, it's okay. They're saving all the good games for the Switch 2 Direct. They weren't.
They I mean, there's good games on the Switch 2 Direct.
They were good. There were some highlights. But okay.
Yeah.
What it's just a disappointing showing, just based on the stuff that they showed at the Switch 1 presentation. So what did the Switch 1 presentation had? First of all, it ended with Breath of the Wild. Like, the Breath of the Wild trailer is still known as like the greatest trailer ever. Like, everybody loves the Breath of the Wild trailer. Even people that hate Breath of the Wild will go back and longingly look at the trailer for Breath of the Wild and be like, damn, that's so good. It had Xenoblade 2. Xenoblade 2 was announced for it. It had Mario Odyssey announced for it. Well, I don't know if it was announced.
I didn't remember any of this. Please keep rattling off, because like you're reminding me of Xenoblade 2.
Splatoon 2.
It was there.
Splatoon 2. All of this was presented for for the thing. Big stuff that I care about.
You want to know? It's funny that you're saying all those games. The thing that I was excited for is when Suda51 showed up on stage. I was like, yeah, no more heroes. Let's fucking go. And then I never played that game because I was so disappointed with the game that he made, which was there was not no more. I think my thumbnail for that video actually said not No More Heroes, because it wasn't No More Heroes. It was some spin-off thing that he did. And then I never even played No More Heroes 3, which I was like, God damn it. You ever played No More Heroes?
No, I haven't.
No More Heroes is so good. You got to try it sometime. The first one, excellent. Second one, I only played a little bit of it, so I don't know how good it is. But the first one is something that everybody should play at some point.
Is he the guy that made Killer 7?
Yes.
I just recently played Killer 7. That's a great game. I really enjoyed it.
You should definitely play No More Heroes 1. Mm-hmm. Play No More Heroes 1. Just to like... I almost want to spoil something for you because it's so funny, but you should play an experience for yourself. It's so good.
All right.
But yeah, so the reveal of the first
lineup.
Switch, great lineup, yeah.
And then Switch 2 comes out, and it has a few gems.
I mean, Mario Kart World.
Games.
Mario Kart World, I think, will be really fun. I'm not sure if it's $90.
But I've never played Mario Kart. I don't know anything.
You've never played Mario Kart?
God damn it! Another one. Yes, I've never played Mario. That's all I've been getting ever since I said I never played Mario Kart. It's like, what do you mean? You've never played Mario Kart?
I can't believe you've never played Mario Kart. Is it because you think it's like a kiddie game, or what's the reason?
No, I just never have. It's like there isn't a reason. I'd be happy to play this one, but my perspective on it is like, since I don't have a history with it, I'm not like chomping at the bit to the new Mario Kart. It's more of a I'd like to try the new Mario Kart, but I'd like to another justification for my purchase.
You have
other than just
you have a sister, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can beat your sister at Mario Kart. Be like, take that.
Yeah, but I can just beat my sister normally, and it's just
damn. Okay. That's kind of fucked up, but all right.
What
we were talking about
okay,
Mario Kart, yeah. So Mario Kart, we get Bonanza. Bonanza looked like fun as well.
Yeah, those are the two ones, and also like 4K Metroid Prime, I guess looks interesting. But like, Again, I didn't play very many Donkey Kong games. I didn't play the 2D Donkey Kong games, so I don't
Wait,
have a history with the character.
You got the game that you wanted though, Silk Song.
For 9 seconds. But yeah, it's coming out in 2025. That's expected. I knew that was going to happen. Don't know exactly when. It's just that where's my incentive to purchase it on release, Nintendo? Where's my release incentive? You know, I have Duskbloods, and that's definitely I'm going to get that. But that comes out in 2026.
That's 2026, yeah.
So I don't have to get it right away. You got to give me more than that.
Let's talk about the console itself, and then we'll get into some more tidbits. So,
yeah,
what'd you think about the console? Just the overall look of the console, like it's kind
I'm
of
happy
like
with it.
It's Switch 2, it's whatever. I think it's a big deal. So, one of the features I will say is very important: larger control sticks on the Joy-Cons.
Yes.
I hate.
Will also fix the Joy-Con drift with those.
Highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. Because listen, have you ever took apart a Joy-Con?
No.
I have. Plenty of times. Because Joy-Cons are expensive as fuck, and I am buying new ones, okay? And here's the funny thing. Joy-Cons are expensive as fuck, he says, while I got the console for free from Nintendo. But yeah, they're really expensive, and I was like, well, I don't want to send the Joy-Cons back for them to fix, so I bought some cheap parts from China, and I just fixed them myself. I had to fix them a couple of times because, listen, the insides of a Joy-Con, okay, they are flimsy as all hell. It's a bunch of flat cables that will break like that, okay? They're just like, and you even look at them wrong, they break. So I've had to replace parts on those Joy-Cons plenty of times. They're both still working, both still have drift, okay? I've replaced the sticks on the Joy-Cons at least twice. And they still have drift.
The new one, though, the new one might not have drift. They know.
Why might it not have drift? Why might it might not have it? Why? Because they know.
Why? They know that it's there. Now that they have the opportunity to, make a new one, they could just fix it. They can just fix it now.
Let me just tell you something, okay? PlayStation 3 controllers had drift. PlayStation 4 controllers had drift. PlayStation 5 controllers still have drift. Guess what?
Yeah.
Joy-Con 2 controllers are still going to have drift. Is everybody going to experience it? No, but some people are. 100%.
Yeah, but PlayStation controllers don't have drift like Joy-Cons have drift. Like, it's all the Joy-Cons that will eventually get drift.
Actually, they do.
They do?
Yes. You use a PlayStation 5 controller for long enough, you will get drift.
Huh.
It's unavoidable.
I've ever had that happen.
It's because of the way that it works that you could, because like I've fixed the drift on multiple controllers, and then I get the drift back again, and then I go back like months after I fixed it. Right, the drift will come back, and then I go back and I fix it again. Because what happens is you get the drift because there's these potentiometers and things that have like all types of sensors and bullshit. But what happens is when you are, when you're moving your stick around, it's like little particles of the stick are going inside of the controller because it's scraping on the edges.
Okay.
And those little particles end up over in the potentiometer and shit that has all the detection stuff. And it needs to be cleaned. That's it. You just open it up, you clean that shit up, you close it back up. The problem is that those things are sensitive, and you got to be very careful about when you're fiddling around in there. And I'm a goddamn ape, so I go in there, I tear those suckers apart, and then I grab a bunch of rubbing alcohol, and I rub them bitches with alcohol. It's like, oh, it looks clean now. Close it back up, and it works again. But it's like sometimes I'll break the fucking thing because it's so goddamn sensitive. It's like these tiny, very sensitive parts. And I'm like, I don't care. It's not working already. I'm going to have to buy a new one anyway, so I either fix it or I break it. I don't care. But yeah. As usually.
Okay, well, let me rephrase it then. Maybe they'll still have some kind of drift, but I'm hoping that it doesn't have like the permanent known issue that all the Joy-Cons have right now that cause them to have drift. So it might still have issues down the line, but I'm hoping it's not that same issue and that's so common for everybody.
I would hope not. But to me, it's just even more important is that they do have that larger control stick because I never liked the tighter range that you get on the Joy-Cons. It's very small. It makes it harder to play. Even playing Monster Hunter Rise is significantly harder on a Joy-Con At least for me on the Gunland, significantly harder on the Joy-Con than on a standard controller.
Yeah, I'm also happy with the Pro controller. I'm happy that on their like actual normal like. I guess the Joy-Cons are the normal controller, but they're not really. The Pro controller has always been the normal controller.
Standard.
Now they have back paddles for it. It's like, okay, great. Let's all do that. Come standard with all of.
We can play Insect Glaive on that controller.
Yeah, now we can finally play Insect Glaive. Exactly.
But yeah, so there's that. The console's more powerful. We don't know exactly by how much. I don't think
1080p screen on it. Really nice. It can go, what is it, 120 on it? Great.
I just have a topic here that just says Chad HDR versus Virgin Ray Tracing. Okay?
Yes.
It's exactly that, okay? Fuck tracing rays. Give me HDR. It's a million times better. Yeah, tracing rays, absolutely worthless. Huge cost and performance, absolute dog shit. Having HDR, significant improvement that you can instantly tell in pretty much every game that utilizes it and has no performance impact. Like way better. One versus the other one. Don't even compare. I have a ton of people that like to defend ray tracing in my comment section for whatever reason. I'm going to keep beating you down with a hammer until you learn that ray tracing fucking sucks.
I don't get the appeal.
Sometimes people say, "Oh,
it's because I turn it on,
because the implementation.
It's
because the implementation and ray tracing actually doesn't affect performance as much. It's actually the path tracing. It's like whatever fucking tracing you want to call it. I don't fucking want it. Okay, I ain't buying it. Keep it. I don't. As a matter of fact, I don't even have an NVIDIA GPU. I have AMD specifically because I hate ray tracing. That's not why I have AMD. It's just because it's cheaper. So whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy that the screen has HDR and the console itself is going to support HDR if you have an HDR TV, which is
it seems like a really high quality product. Better specs than the Steam Deck in a lot of ways, and like the Steam Deck doesn't have that resolution or frame rate. What else does it have?
So
it has a little cooling thing in the dock, which a little fan in the dock. So I really thought that was impressive.
So it can run do 4K games at 4K 60.
No, hang on now. Like, I don't know about this. I'm gonna play Metroid Prime because they always optimize the shit out of Metroid Prime. If that sucker actually plays at 4K 60 with the fucking Switch 2, I'm gonna lose it. Like, that's incredible. There's no way. There's no way.
No, there's no way that thing runs at 4K 60. I'm going to say if it does run at 4K 60, it's going to have like some serious performance loss. It's like, listen, my topic on the 4K 60 says 4K 60 ? Lol, comma, Lamau even. It's like, no, so it's like, I don't think it will ever reliably do 4K 60 because like, look, the PlayStation 4 announced 4K 60. The PlayStation 5, the box that I have of PlayStation 5 still says 8K. I think on the PlayStation 5 Pro, they said like 16K or some random bullshit number somebody spewed out. It's like, no, dude. Although, I think they got No Man's Sky running at 8K 60. Was it No Man's Sky? I think they got one game running at 8K 60 on this PS5, and I was like, there had to be some serious. There's no way.
Given the state of how games release, like this 8K bullshit, this is pipe dream. There's no 8K. That's not happening.
We barely get 4K. Okay, listen. 2K is the way of the future. Everybody should just optimize for 2K. All right, 1440p is just enough resolution with just enough less performance loss that it is the best way of playing video games. And I say that as someone that plays most stuff at 4K because I'm dumb. But yeah.
Well, I did get a 4K monitor just to test the Switch 2 when it came out. Plus, now I get to see what 4K is. Also, I've become a 4K build. I love 4K.
Damn.
I used to be like, I don't want a single pixel more than 1080p and give me my stable 60 frames per second. And then I see 4K for the first time. It's like, oh, I get it. I don't ever want to see 1080p again. I'll even sacrifice frames for my 4K. I'll play at 30 frames. I don't care. It's beautiful.
Here's the thing. It all depends on the monitor that you're using. So like if you're using a good 1440p monitor and you compare that with like a good 4K monitor, you will notice that the difference is not as massive as you're thinking. The thing is, you went from 1080p to 4K, right?
Yeah.
So you just skipped 1440p. That's why you don't have a frame of reference. If you had 1440p,
no, I've seen.
like,
I had a 2K monitor. I've seen it.
Was it a good 2K monitor though?
I don't know. I don't
because I imagine your 4K monitor is good.
Yeah, this is a good. This is a good monitor.
So let me tell you, as somebody who also has never really indulged himself in monitors until quite recently, the quality of the monitor makes more like. Let's say you had a mid-range 4K monitor and a good 1440p monitor, the image will look better on the 1440p monitor. Yeah, the quality of the monitor is absolutely massive in this equation. But yeah, so whether we'll get 4K 60 or not, we'll see. They say we will. It's whatever. But now we have to talk about the most important functionality, clearly, because they devoted, like, I don't know, what felt like half an hour of the show to it. That amazing chat functionality, though.
Yes. You know, I'm not mad about it. I'm sure it'll work fine.
Yeah.
The only thing that is weird is that there's a button. That's an unfortunate decision for them to make. Because then there's a button
stupid.
That you can't use unless you pay for Nintendo Switch Online.
No, you can't. You can use it. You press the button and it goes to a paywall.
It's a very unfortunate decision because of like, okay, you're adding a chat function. It probably works good. You know, you probably workshopped it. Probably works nice. Whatever. Good. I wanted you to have better online functionality. This is what people were asking for a long period of time. It looks like a good showing. You shouldn't have made it a button because now it invites criticism where like you're not letting me use a button on my controller without me paying you. It's a bad decision. It's bad decision.
And here's the actual thing. Like, I guess if people never use the Nintendo Switch, they'll be like, oh, it's so convenient to just have a button. It's like you can keep pressing the home button. You get a little shortcut menu, as pretty much every other console, and then you can just go there and navigate to the chat section. You don't need a dedicated button for this. This is ridiculous. It's like, oh, no, but I'm in the middle of this super intense match, so let me bootleg Discord real quick, and I can do it with just a press of a button. Yeah, I'm sure that thing's going to be real responsive, especially with the frame rates we're getting on those goddamn cameras with the gameplay in the background. By the way, who plays video games like that? Who the fuck plays video games with 4
Maybe
Discord
streamers?
windows? No, we don't. We absolutely don't. That's crazy.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like not even streamers play video games like that, let alone normal people. Of course not. Nobody does that.
Yeah.
Like if I'm
I don't
on
want to see your
Discord,
face when you're playing
exactly.
Mario Kart.
It's like
I don't get it.
If I'm playing a video game with a friend over Discord, it's like Discord is a fucking minimized window. That's what it is. It's at the bottom of my computer. I pull it up when I want to hang up. That's it. That's why we pull it up. You don't play video games while looking at your friend's face. Hell, even when you're in couch co-op, you're not looking at your friend's face.
Why would I do that?
Unless you beat them in Smash, and then after you beat them, it's like, yeah, bitch. I guess they're trying to replicate that, but online it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You need to do it to their face. That's how you do it. You need to see the joy and just completely ripped out from their eyes. You know, I did that to a friend of mine yesterday. It was great. We were playing Kill Team, and listen, in the first turn, I took out 3 of his operatives, which is just like massive. It's huge. Because like usually in first turn, it's just like movement and shit. So like in first turn, I took out 3 of his operatives. And every time I would take one of them out, I could see the joy in his eyes slowly dwindle away as he was sinking into the depths of abyss and despair. And eventually he was just like, hey, can we just like restart the game? He quit.
Yeah, the camera can't replicate that. Can't replicate that.
You can't do that. And so the other thing about the chat functionality, so both of us agree that you shouldn't have to pay for it. That's stupid because Xbox Live, sure, you have to pay for online, but you don't have to pay for the Xbox Party System. You don't have to pay for the PlayStation Party System. Nintendo is the only one who's charging for this. Now, in their defense, they also have the cheapest service currently, unless that price is increasing,
Yes.
which I imagine it will. They currently have the cheapest price out of all the other consoles. I think it's about $20 a year, whereas the other ones are like 60 or 70, depending on different plans.
Some ridiculous price.
If you get the expansion pack, that's $50 a year, which is significantly more. So,
Yeah,
whatever.
but you don't have to have the expansion pack just to play online.
Just to play online and to use the stuff or whatever. But yeah. And so the other thing is being paid for is dumb. The chat functionality should just be for everyone. And then maybe, if you want to do the fancy green screen bullshit, then you have to pay for Switch Online. Even though that does set a precedent wherein this hardware can actually do some really cool shit, but you got to pay for it. Although they already set that precedence, I guess, because that's what they're doing. Like, you want to do the cool green screen shit? Got to pay for it. So
yeah,
that we both don't agree on. Weird camera controls, weird camera stuff that they've done. It's whatever. They can do that if they want. Don't care.
If it was about the camera, the green screen thing, if it was about that, if you want to put that behind a paywall, that doesn't bother me so much. Like, is there going to be a messaging system? And if there is a messaging system, is it going to be behind a paywall? Or is it just the Discord thing that's behind a paywall?
I'm guessing it's just the Discord thing, because currently you can message other people for free on the Switch 1.
No, you can't. You can.
What do you mean?
You can do it on the app.
You can't send messages through Switch?
No, there's no message system in Switch.
What? I thought there was.
No, there's no message system. Well, hang on, I'll get my Switch here. I don't think so.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure you can send people messages.
The fact that you don't think so makes now I'm questioning myself. I don't think there is.
I think you can. Send your friend a message. Tell him it's a test. He'll be like, "What the hell is this archaic technology? I've never received the message on my Switch."
I've gone to the friends list, and the options are remove friend, block, and close. That's it. There is no message system on the Switch.
What about invite to game? Isn't there one for invite to game? There should be an invite system. Don't you have to click your friend or something? I don't
think I've ever done that, but I know for sure there's no message system.
Okay, well, there you go. It is what it is. But here's another one of these really weird decisions. The microphone is on the Switch unit.
I don't think it's going to be a problem. Like that,
I think it's going to be
on
terrible.
The Switch. I think it'll be fine. I'm willing to bet that actually is going to work way better than people suspect. I'm not going to be dooming about the fucking microphone on that I'm not going to use on the Switch system because I don't.
I mean, that's the thing. I've used the microphones on PlayStation cameras and shit like that. When the microphone on the controller is one of the best things they've ever done. It's like, that's all I'm saying.
Really? I
mean, one of the best in terms of communication. It's one of the best improvements you can on the PlayStation. I forget if it was the 4 or the 5. I think it was on. It's the 5. On the 5, it has a. Wait, do I have a PlayStation 4?
Does it have a built-in microphone?
The PlayStation 5 has. I don't have a DualSense here. I have a DualSense. I don't have a DualShock 4. Do you have a DualShock 4? Because I know that the 5 has one. Yeah, the DualSense has one, which is the. Don't you see it? It even has a microphone symbol on there. It has a mute button.
I see it now, but I did not even ever see that before.
They've been listening to you this whole time. No, and it's actually a really good microphone. Like, a friend of mine has like a decent USB headset, and at one point he swapped over to his controller, and I was like, man, that's even better than the one that you had. And the thing is, you're holding the controller in your hand, so it's way closer to you. Your Switch is going to be across you, depending on where you even have it in your living room or something, potentially.
Yeah.
So that is going to be a problem. Not to mention that a lot of the people who buy a Switch also have kids who also play on the Switch. So imagine where it's like
Well-
you're doing something online with a friend. His kid goes, Daddy, you think the Switch is not going to pick that shit up?
Yeah, but that's the same problem that the controller has. Like, if you think the controller's microphone... No?
Because the controller can actually isolate it way more because it's closer to you. But the Switch one is super far away, so they can noise gate it and they can do a bunch of stuff. Like they say they have some noise gating stuff, but you and I, we've done podcasts. We know how reliable noise gating can be, right? So it's like if we're doing it manually, they're doing it automatically. It's not going to be great. It's just not going to be great.
I think the microphone's going to work fine.
Okay, that's fine.
Like if you have it across the room, maybe it'll be a problem. But that's not. I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Okay, so here comes the one.
There are other things to complain about.
Oh yeah,
when it comes to
this one. If you don't back me up on this one, I'll never believe anything you say ever again.
Yeah.
So once again, this topic comes with one of those Virgin Chad memes. Okay, Virgin Switch 2 mouse shenanigans versus Chad Wii light gun.
Oh. I didn't think the mouse was going to be the thing. The Wii light gun? What the fuck is the Wii light gun?
Gyroscope.
Oh, well, okay, but... So, I made a video a while ago. Did you see the video I was talking about, the gyro and the mouse?
No, I don't think I picked that up, that one.
Okay, so... I like the mice. But not to use as mice. It's because the Nintendo's... I'm a big gyro supporter. I'm gyro pilled. I've been using gyro on everything. I don't even play shooters anymore if they don't have gyro functionality. That's why I play them on Steam, because you can set up gyro on Steam for basically any shooter. I've been playing Doom Eternal on gyro. It's so good. So much fun.
See, so you're even more into the light gun stuff than I am.
Yeah, I fucking love it. I love the gyro. It's the wave of the future that never came.
Exactly. Like, I think we talked about this back when I played Wii back in the day. I was like, oh, this is 100% the future. Like, I played Metroid Prime with gyro, and I was like, oh, I can never go back. I mean, obviously, this is going to be the future. Like, right? PlayStation 3 is going to start supporting this. Everybody's going to start supporting this. Never happened. Nobody likes it except for you and me. We're the only ones.
It happens, but only the Switch was ever the Steam. So Steam does it, and it lets you put a gyro on everything. They've done a lot of work into making the gyro functionality work well, and the Switch has done it. So Splatoon,
but the thing
everyone
is,
plays with gyro.
I don't like the Switch one nearly as much as the Wii one. The Wii one was better.
Wait, that's because the Wii one was actually
light gun.
It was light gun. It was a light gun.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a gyro in your controller. Yeah, I alternate between them. But the great thing about the Wii one was that it had...
tax. I will take the sensor bar tax. Give me light gun.
but the Wii Motion Plus was a gyro attached to the light gun, so it was both.
It was the best.
It was the
that
great.
Was the best.
It was the GOAT.
That one was definitely the best one, most accuracy out of all of them, and the Joy-Con was a bit of a downgrade from the Wii Motion Plus.
It's still an upgrade if you're trying to aim. Like for shooters, it's okay. So here's an interesting thing. When people started getting Steam Decks, and they started playing games on their Steam Decks, you can't use a mouse on the Steam Deck, so they started using the gyro while they're holding the Steam Deck. And Doom Eternal and Doom, big popular thing. People are discovering, oh my god, this is great. I'm aiming so good now. I'm way better than I was when I was just using the controller before. And Nintendo did a lot of that work also with Splatoon. Splatoon is exclusively played with the gyro. Nobody plays any Splatoon game without the gyro.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then I see this mouse thing. So the problem with how the gyro works on PC games is that most PC games are not set up to accept mouse inputs. And one of the reasons why on Switch games it doesn't always feel right is because it's not accepting it as a mouse input. It's accepting it as an analog stick input. At least that's what I'm assuming. So it feels a lot smoother and nicer when you're doing it on Steam and you force it to be a mouse input, but that takes some effort. But now they actually have a mouse, and I'm willing to bet that those Switch mice actually do mouse inputs. So it just accepts everything. So basically all those games are going to be accepting it. And any game that they're going to utilize that mouse input will probably also have gyro implementation on it. And it'll probably gyro that acts as a mouse. So it'll be way more accurate than it was before. I think the wave of the future is finally here, and it's thanks to those stupid mice finally having the mouse input into it. So I'm pro mouse.
I kind of lost the track of that thought for a little bit. So the idea is that the idea is that you believe the gyroscope's going to be more accurate because of the fact that they put mouse features.
It will act as a mouse. It will act as a mouse. So how you set up gyro in Steam is you tell the gyro to behave as if it's a mouse. So the video game accepts it as if it was a mouse. So when I'm looking up and down, it thinks it's a mouse.
So you're emulating a mouse, whereas those games will know how to work with a mouse, and they will also know how to work with gyro.
Any game that is using that mouse, any game that's using that mouse will likely be able to just use the gyro instead of that mouse, and it'll just accept the input as if you were using the mouse.
Okay.
If it doesn't, it'd be stupid. Like, it'd be a big fumble by Nintendo, because there's you just flip a switch. You flip a switch and it works. I
mean, they did
you
put
don't believe?
a button. They did put a button on that controller, but so I don't know, man. I don't know. So another thing, game key cartridges. I think that's absolutely worthless. You know what I'm talking about? Game key cartridges.
Yeah.
It's worthless, terrible, disgusting. Why would you do that?
See, I'm going to be the Nintendo simp this entire fucking podcast. I'm just going to be
I transformed the Doomer into the shill.
The roles have reversed here. Watch you still get a Switch 2 for free, and I'm over here out in the lurch. Even though I'm over here the one defending.
I mean, listen.
I agree.
I know the people at Nintendo Portugal. They might be nice. I don't know. No, they're actually really chill. But usually Nintendo outside of Portugal makes those types of decisions. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Game key cartridge is bad, but they've always been bad. And Nintendo's not the first one to do that, because most discs don't come in with the data. You know, you insert the disc, and a lot of the times you have to download a bunch of stuff. Some games aren't playable, and some don't come in the box. Like, remember when I don't know if that's still even popular, but they used to have codes. You buy the box, there's nothing in the box, there's a code, and you fucking put the code into the console and then download the game like that. Awful. It's always been awful. But the game key cartridges are that, but less bad, because you can actually just resell those. You know, I'm pretty sure that you can take the game key cartridge, take it out of your Switch, put it on a different Switch, and so if you have an internet connection, it functions. You can probably sell those to GameStop, so you can get some resale value out of them. So they're bad, but it's not like we haven't had worse, and they're better than what we have been doing.
It's just like, I have a much more extreme view on it, which is we shouldn't even compromise on this at all. Because as you know, I'm very passionate about physical media. And to me, it's like, listen, if the game's not on the cartridge, we should have never done it, regardless of which company it is. Like, if it's fucking PlayStation doing it, it's like, I don't give a fuck. Fuck them. Like, you just don't sell that game. Just don't sell it physically. Sell it digitally only. I will not complain. None of my business. I want to have physical versions. I do not like this half step that we have of like the Switch cartridges. They're like, oh, this one requires internet connection. I don't like it when Modern Warfare does it either. But then again, I don't like Activision at all, so they can get fucked regardless if they sell the full game on the disc or not. Like, I don't care. Yeah. I will rail on them regardless if the full game is on there. But when the full game's not even on there, that's even more disgusting. But yeah, I think that this is all wrong, and it just should not happen, and we should not normalize it through the game key cartridges. It should just not be normalized. It's like, it's a waste of plastic, because we all know eventually the servers are going to go away, just like they have gone away for the 3DS, just like they have gone away for the Wii U. And at that point, what's that cartridge worth? Fuck all. It's nothing. It's a waste of plastic. You can throw it in the garbage. It doesn't matter anymore. It's just so that people can have a pretty box to put on their shelves. It's like, no, I don't want a pretty box. I want a useful box that has actually something in it.
Yeah.
Which is very frustrating. And that leads me into like the main reason why I wanted to have a Switch 2, I still want to have a Switch 2. I might still buy it. Haven't made up my mind yet. But it's like I was, before the Direct and the price reveal, I was like, yup, I'm 100% getting a Switch 2, no doubt about it. After the price reveal and some of the things that were revealed, I think after the Direct, I'm like, man, I'm kind of pissed off now. Because the thing is, why did I wanted to buy a Switch 2? Switch is one of the last consoles that still supports physical media properly. Like most of the stuff that is coming out on PlayStation and Xbox these days, everything has a day one patch. And even if it doesn't have a day one patch, a lot of the games just straight up do not work out of the box. Or if they work out of the box, they'll have like some game breaking bug that won't let you progress past certain things. Like there's tons of video games like this nowadays. And I'm just like, no, I want to have my cartridge that's going to last forever or until I break it or whatever. But it'll be there and I can just pick it up, put it on the Switch. And even if the servers are dead, which they will be at some point, let's face it. And even if they are dead, I'm going to be able to just like throw the cartridge in and play the video game. Right. And because of that, I've actually bought quite a few physical Switch games because I knew the Switch 2 was coming. And I'm like, oh man, at some point I'm going to be able to play these games with better frame rates and better visuals. And it's going to be great. Yeah. And then Nintendo pulls this stunt where they're like, oh yeah, so this has better hardware, but if you want to use the better hardware, you need to pay us for it on a per game basis. And I'm just like, what do you mean, dude? That's ridiculous.
Okay, but are we talking about the Tears of the Kingdom and the
all
Breath
of them,
of the Wild,
all of the video
upgrades?
Games, yeah, the upgrades, all of them are going to be like that every game. And you want to know why? Because the games are actually not running natively on the system. They're also not running emulated. They're using like some half-step measure where parts of it's being emulated and parts of it's running natively. I don't know exactly how the technology works. I read some article on it, but apparently it's not full emulation and it's not full native. It's like some half in between step.
Wait,
that they
let's be clear. So you're talking about the backwards compatible games,
yeah,
not the
backwards
upgraded.
compatible.
The upgraded ones are all going to be natively running.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have heard something along those lines. Are we sure they're not going to run better? Because in PS5, when you play a PS4 game on the PS5, the PS4 game runs better.
Monster Hunter World, I was able to run it in resolution mode at 60 FPS on the PS5.
Yeah. So are we sure that's not going to be the case? My understanding was that that's how it was going to work for the Switch 2, and then they would just also have upgraded things like the way The Last of Us did the same thing. I think Horizon maybe did the same thing where go ahead.
That is not my understanding of how it's going to work. And maybe I'm the one who's wrong. I don't know. But my understanding is that the game's going to run pretty much the same way that it runs on the Switch 1. And then you can pay for the upgrade and then you'll get the native version of the game and that will run fine. Because you see, the thing is, PlayStation 5 is not emulating games from the PlayStation 4, not even partially. It's running them natively because it's the same architecture. It's just more powerful hardware. But because I think there's probably some architecture changes, like a portion of the game is getting emulated, the other portion is getting native. Again, I could be saying this somewhat wrong. I read an article where it said it's not full on emulation. It's also not full on natively. It's some weird half step that they were able to compromise on to make sure that the stuff works. And it's not going to work for every game. It's going to work on supported games. So it's like backwards compatibility 0.9 or something like that. At least that's the idea that I got. Could be wrong. Feel free to correct me in the comment sections. I'm not, married to this, but that was what I got from the research that I did. So like,
I remember for instance, there was
Breath
some
of the
people
Wild.
talking.
I'm sorry. Let me just. So Breath of the Wild is you're not getting better. They're not giving you higher resolution textures because you can already run Breath of the Wild 4K on PC.
Yes.
So the game already supports you upscaling it or doing it whatever the hell. So it's like what they're doing is they might like change a couple of things here and there, but it's not like they're giving you better textures. It's just running better. It's just running natively. That's my understanding of it, at least.
Yeah, because you have stronger hardware and it can do that. And we're talking about the upgraded version.
The upgraded version, yeah, because
Yeah.
they changed the thing, but with the base version, it won't run better.
I see.
So like I have the physical. I don't think I have the physical Breath of the Wild, but I do have physical Tears of the Kingdom. So I put my physical Switch 1 Tears of the Kingdom cartridge into the Switch 2, and it will run with the performance of the Switch 1.
If that ends up happening, I will be disappointed. But I don't know that I'm sure that's how it's going to end up happening, because I remember that in Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, there were people that were talking about how there was code in the game for it to be able to run at 60 frames per second. It just wasn't able to be used right now. It wasn't activated or something. And so the speculation was...
Guess how much that activation is going to cost you? It'll be about $10, buddy.
No, because that doesn't work that way, because we were just discussing it. The other ones, the Switch 2 versions, those run natively. That Switch 1 would have to be emulated. There's no way they're going to charge you $10 for a not native port.
What if that code is in the game because they've already printed out the Switch 2 cartridges?
I see.
And
that would suck.
Like in there. Yep.
You
got to remember that the Switch 2 cartridges are also faster.
Yes, that's true.
So you're not going to stick the Switch 1 cartridge in there and it's like, oh, well, let me just paint this cartridge red like I'm an orc from 40K and it'll go faster. That's not how it goes.
But it needs to be red for the PS4
because it's not emulated. Because it's not emulated.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the biggest problem. And here's the other thing.
I'll have to look at this video that you're talking about, because I would hope that that's not how it's going to... I want the Switch 1 version.
Article.
Okay, you're going to have to link me to that article, because I want... What I want to happen is for me to put my Switch 1 version of Xenoblade Chronicles X onto the Switch 2, and it just run at 60 frames per second, if that's what they're going to do. Or just run better. Just run better. I just want all the games to run. It doesn't even have to have a high resolution. Just run better.
Yeah, that's the thing. And also, do you think that you're getting like a 4K texture pack for Breath of the Wild? You think Breath of the Wild is going to run 4K 60 on a Switch 2?
Maybe with the port, but that's you're always going to be, with the Switch 2 version, maybe.
I don't know. It's kind of rough. We'll see. But here's the other thing that I want to get your take on. Breath of the Wild, whatever upgraded Switch 2 version, isn't it going to cost like $90 or something? I forget if that one's a $90 game. I don't know if they've announced the price. Doesn't include the DLC. You just don't get the DLC.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Now you got me. Now I can't defend that one. That's fucking ridiculous. What do you mean you don't get the DLC?
That is such that is like some of the most penny pinching, bullshittery, nickel and diming, scumbaggery moves I have ever seen, dude. Because like, listen, I don't get nearly as upset when somebody, some of the stuff that happened with Monster Hunter Wild's game is easier, change some things, whatever. While that makes me sad, a little bit disappointed even in some aspects, it doesn't make me mad.
Yeah.
Whenever I sense any company penny pinching me, that's when I'm like, fuck you. It's garbage. And I'm probably one of the biggest Switch defenders ever. I'm like, nah, bro. You guys are playing these games 30 FPS. Look at all these first-party Nintendo titles running 60 FPS on the Switch. What the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
On the fucking Switch, it's running at 60 FPS. I'm one of the biggest defenders, but like, no, Breath of the Wild, not including DLC, is one of the biggest scumbag things they could have done. Like, that's just fucking... You're really just like, oh yeah, $10. They could make money on those games at $30.
So what's the price? What are the pricings here? So you pay $60 for the game, and then $10 for the upgrade, and then you pay for the DLC?
I actually don't know how much you paid for the DLC. I haven't even seen how much you have to pay for Breath of the Wild DLC.
That's crazy. That's too far. Yeah, you got me. That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's just completely ridiculous. I don't understand why they would even do that. But yeah,
I do understand it.
I mean, yeah, of course,
if I start talking, but it's not just money. If I start talking about it, I was going to save it for later, but it's like my biggest Nintendo simping argument. Like it's my big argument having to do with Reggie's whole thing. Like if we got other complaints, we should get them out of the way before I start, glazing the shit out of Nintendo.
I don't think I have any more complaints besides the price. Like, what do you think about the price? The price of $90 games.
It's not $90. It's $80.
What do you mean? The physical edition is $90?
No, well, maybe in your country. That's a rumor for the U.S. It's not true. There's no confirmed $90 pricing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's $80 and then $70.
And are you okay with $80?
I am not happy with $80, but okay.
But
I think that
this
was gonna happen anyway. This was always gonna happen. I'm not happy that Nintendo's the one that decided to fucking open the floodgates for everybody else to start. I've heard that like PlayStation started increasing the price of their digital version in some other countries.
I mean,
to be more than this.
To give you an idea, PlayStation prices in Portugal are always whatever price you guys have in the US, you add a 10 to it, and then it's translated to euros, so it's even more expensive. Because euros, at least they used to be, I think they're still more valuable than the dollar, but whatever. But it's whatever price you guys have in the States plus 10. That's usually what we have on pretty much everything on PlayStation.
Okay. So, yeah, no, I'm not happy with it. This opens the door for everybody else to be doing the same thing. They were all going to do the same thing, but this now Nintendo gets the brunt of it. Now Nintendo gets the blame. GTA 5, there was talks about it being $100 a while ago. Now that seems to be... Yeah, sorry, GTA 6. Now that seems to be like a certainty.
There's so many of them, right? They're all the same. It's the same fucking game. I'm joking.
They're kind of... No, I don't really like them. Yeah, that's going to be $100. Going to make tons of money. Here's my thing. This isn't exactly a defense. It's like an explanation of Nintendo's mindset and like my perspective on why I don't see them as like this terribly evil, greedy company that everybody else sees them as. So did you see that Reggie, the former president of Nintendo of America, posted a thing where he talked about how he bundled the Wii?
Yeah, I saw that article. Yes, I know everything about that.
Okay, so I read the Disrupting the Game, Reggie's book. I read it like a couple of days ago. And in it, he talks about that at more in length. And he wanted to bundle the Wii with the Wii Sports together and sell them individually. And this was something that he was harping on about to Iwata for a while. And so then finally there was a meeting with him, Miyamoto, and some other people. And they showed him Wii Play. And they're like, why don't we use this for your idea instead of Wii Sports? And we can bundle this in. And Reggie has the balls. They were already not happy with that, but he has the balls to be like, we should do both. Let's do both of it. Wii Play's fun and all, but it doesn't have the same, presence as Wii Sports, and that's really what we should bundle. And Miyamoto was pissed when that happened. And he says to Iwata and to Reggie, neither of you appreciate like the difficulty and the care that goes into making games like this. So Miyamoto was unhappy that it seemed like these guys didn't understand. Oh, and I should probably add this point. Before in the book, when Reggie first brought the idea up to Iwata that he wanted to bundle Wii Sports with the Wii, Iwata was like, Nintendo does not give away our stuff for free. We deserve to be paid for the things that we make. So they have this attitude. When he said that, and when I saw Miyamoto's reaction, what I think is that Nintendo is kind of prideful. They actually see themselves as craftsmen making products. They actually still have that artistic pride that they should be paid for the things that they do. And why the fuck am I giving my stuff away for free when I worked so hard and I had my devs work so hard for it? It deserves to be $80 kind of attitude. Now we can argue if you think Mario Kart actually is worth $80, but I think that's the attitude that they have and the reason why they're doing this. And the reason why it doesn't bother me is because I think that's a good attitude to have in comparison to every other attitude that I see companies have. So, for example, Ubisoft, you know, Nintendo says, you're going to pay me $80 for Mario Kart, slaps the $80 price sticker, but then it'll leave me alone. It doesn't nickel and dime me afterwards. It doesn't try to manipulate me with microtransactions. And I guess this is a matter of perspective. You can tell me what you think. I'm actually curious as to what you think. But I think microtransactions are like infinitely more damaging than this.
Absolutely.
Than this extra $10 price tag, extra $20 price tag. And everybody does it, except Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't do microtransactions. Outright goes out of its way not to, refuses to. And then you have Monster Hunter Wilds is doing microtransactions. They're selling you Wilds, Rise, World. They sell you cosmetic DLC items for $2.50 a pop for just the arms, you know, and then one for the chest, and then one for the head, and then one for the legs. And they do that, and there's like $200 or $300 worth of stuff just with that. And then there's the pendants, and there's the stuff. And I think that's wrong. I think that's actually damaging to the industry. I think it can potentially be damaging to that specific game. Because if that makes enough money, then things like that become the point. And then the game is just a way to lure people in to sell them the microtransactions. That's my perspective.
So here's one of the problems that I have with that analogy, right? So you're making that argument in favor of Mario Kart. Problem is, Mario Kart came out, and then it also gives you a bunch of microtransactions. They're not cosmetic microtransactions. It's like, oh, here's course pack number 1, and then it's like, I don't know, 4 additional courses and a couple of new characters or something like that, and then another one.
Isn't that
and then another one, and then another one, and it's like, I think that Mario Kart 8 has like 3 or 4 of these packs or something like that.
But let me ask you, I actually don't know about Mario Kart, so you're going to have to educate me on this. Those are not microtransactions as far as I know. Those are DLC, and that's significant content, isn't it? Like, those are characters, those are different roads, I guess.
It's significant content, but what I'm saying is it's still, it's still gameplay content. It's still stuff that they're selling you.
But I have no problem with DLCs. You understand? Like, I don't mind Shadow of the Erdtree, for example. I don't mind any of the Elden Ring DLCs.
Shadow of the Erdtree is kind of like a different one because it's a big expansion. So it's kind of like you look at
Dark Souls. Dark Souls is a smaller DLC. Or
you mean
I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
You mean like Prepare to Die edition, whatever it was called, Artorias
of the Abyss, Artorias of the Abyss, or the Ring City from Dark Souls 3. Like those are smaller DLC packs. They're not big like Shadow of the Erdtree or huge like Monster Hunter. Like I don't have any problem with DLC. The Lies of P DLC is going to come out. Okay, the Remnant 2 DLCs. Those are relatively short encounters. There's one new map.
Good.
Yeah, those are really great. Those are really excellent. I don't have a problem with high quality DLCs, even if they happen to be relatively short. As far as I know, those are just DLCs, right?
Yeah,
like they're
DLCs.
Okay.
No, you're right. You're right. It was just something that came to my head while we were talking about as well. Mario Kart also sold a bunch of stuff, but yeah, no, you're right. Your point makes more sense. But the thing is, at the end of the day, the question that I ask myself is, do they need that price increase? And as a matter of fact, is it even beneficial to them to do that price increase?
No, actually, I don't think it is. And Reggie doesn't think it is. I think it's damaging to their brand and damaging to their company to do this, especially when this attitude has gotten them so high and mighty that they think they can sell that fucking Welcome the Nintendo Tour thing to the Switch 2 for $10.
Oh, I almost forgotten about that one.
I cannot fucking believe that they think that's a good idea. It's crazy. It's insanity. Like, they're just pissing everybody off. This is not a good idea. Reggie doesn't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Reggie was right about everything when it came to what was good for them financially. But I do think that it comes from this fucking Nintendo Kyoto pride they have for their craftsmanship, their artistry.
I think you're right. You're right about that they have this attitude that their stuff is crafts and it's friggin'
They think they're better.
Yeah.
They think they're better than everybody.
And it's like, in a lot of aspects, let's just. Did you play Mario Odyssey, or is that also something that you didn't play?
I am going to, but I have not.
Okay, so I played Mario Odyssey. I've never been a Mario guy. I don't really care. Interestingly enough, my kid's gonna grow up to be a Mario guy because he's playing a bunch of Mario games and Yoshi games and shit. Because I ain't letting him touch a fucking cell phone. I'm like, no, fuck that shit. Your friends can play your Fortnites and your bullshit. You can play Minecraft, and then you can play some Mario games, and you can play some Monster Hunter. He plays Monster Hunter as well. He's 10.
Good job. That's great idea.
Yeah, he's gonna be fantastic. So it's like, I did not grow up as a Mario guy at all. I did not have an NES system. I did not have an SNES system. I got the Mega Drive. So I was a Sonic guy. But, so they sent me Mario Odyssey. I didn't even ask for it. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll check it out since I have it anyways.
You gotta give me these Nintendo contacts. What the?
They only work for Portugal. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But like I start playing the game. I am hooked. Like, I'm just addicted. So like that thing that you're saying about their shit being the bomb, it is. Like, their first party shit is amazing. Especially like this Mario Odyssey game, I could not put it down. I played it all the way to the end, and I was like, I was ready if there wasn't another game, because like obviously I can't, unfortunately, algorithm. Imagine me doing like, I don't know, friggin' super giga live stream about Super Mario Odyssey. I did stream it a couple of times, but I can't like, oh yeah, let me just stream Mario Odyssey for a week straight, put myself right at the bottom of the algorithm for the rest of my life. No, I can't do that. But obviously I still talk about it, but Mario Odyssey was phenomenal. It was like one of the best platformer games I've ever played, because like it's super responsive. It feels really good. You want to go back to the levels and you want to play them again and you want to do the alternate stuff because it feels nice, because the platforming is responsive, because of the tricks that you can do. Because like the game has tricks, right? So think of it like this. You can jump, right, in Mario. So you have your regular jump. Then you have your long jump. Then you have a jump where you can do the long jump into a wall, bounce off the wall, then throw your hat, land on the hat, jump off the hat, and then there's still like a dodge forward that you can do to get a little bit more distance. Now, you don't have to do all of these things, but the tech is there and lets you do some crazy shenanigans while you're exploring levels. And that is the part that is amazing. And the other thing, like, to give an idea, right? They didn't put co-op in this game, but they're like, we understand that this is a game you might want to play with your kids or whatever. So you can hand one controller to somebody else and they can control the hat. So you're playing Mario and the other person can be like attacking monsters with the hat while you're playing, but you lose the jump tech functionality. So now you have to play off with the other person cooperatively to get the jump tech again. It's insane. The stuff that they've done with that game is absolutely insane. And I was just like I told you, I picked it up. I couldn't stop. So yeah, I agree. Nintendo's shit is the bomb in a lot of situations. And I've also seen a lot of people just be like, Mario Kart 8 isn't like an $80 game. It's like a $30 game. And I'm just like, no. Like Mario Kart, not Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart World, whatever. Mario Kart is a really solid racer. It's a fantastic game. Okay,
that game sold more than almost anything. Like there's very few games that sell better than that. There's almost none.
I checked the copies sold for Deluxe, which, by the way, since you don't know about Mario Kart, this one's gonna give you a little bit more ammo whenever you want to criticize them. The Mario Kart on the Switch is the same Mario Kart that was on the Wii U.
Oh,
you didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
It's the same game, but they've added a couple of more bells and whistles to it, probably a couple of new modes, whatever. But it's the same game. So it's like the Wii U got Mario Kart 8. The Switch got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So it's like a definitive edition or some shit. And then they still made DLC for it. Okay? But, it's like Mario Kart game is an excellent game. So the thing is, to me, I just don't think that they should raise the price. I don't think that it's fair. And whenever people start talking to me about inflation, it's like, no, I'm sorry. You didn't become an economist yesterday, okay? Shut the fuck up about inflation. I'm not an economist either. And the other thing is, people that can barely afford to buy groceries, they don't give a fuck about inflation. I mean, they care about inflation because they can't afford to buy groceries.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying, right? They're like, we don't care about why you're raising the price. Don't raise the price. It's like, especially when there's no need to. Like, they're going to make money hand over fist with this game at $70. They probably could have made even more if they actually said, no, actually it's $60. If they stuck with $60, they would have earned more consumer goodwill and they would have undoubtedly sold more copies of the game and made more profits than pushing it at $80.
Here's the thing, that I don't think that's true. I like all the other things I agree with you on, but especially I think that the reason that this costs $80 instead of $70 is because that's just how they're going to do their no, not for the bundle. It's because that's just kind of their new standard. In the Switch era, everything was $60, and then Tears of the Kingdom was $70. And the reason that they gave was like, well, this is a special game. Like, this is actually a good game. Like, this is like we're gonna price things $70 from now on if it's super good. They never did that other than Tears of the Kingdom. And I think that that's just the paradigm that they're using here. The standard is just 70 for them. And then Mario Kart 8 is coming on 80. And they're doing that because they're 100% certain that they're going to sell that no matter what. Because it's Mario Kart, and Mario Kart sold like 70 million copies or for that.
You're saying that that's their standard when in an interview, Doug Bowser specifically said that's not their standard.
That's not their standard?
No,
no. Didn't he say that they're going to have variable pricing?
Yeah, exactly. He said we're going to price it whatever the fuck we want.
All that means is that there's just going to be some games that are $80. That's what that means.
That's not what he said.
It's basically what he said.
That's
okay, fine. That's how I interpret it.
That is an extremely simp interpretation. Come on.
No, it's not, because it's the same interpretation. Do you think they're going to price things more than $80 at some point?
Absolutely. And like I told you, I'm pretty sure that the $90 for the physical edition of Mario Kart is official.
It's not true. It's not.
What do you mean it's not true?
Sure. It's not true. Not in the U.S., at least, if you're talking about U.S. dollars. It's not. It is a rumor that has been circulating for a long time, but there are no official sources. If you look it up right now, but before the end of the podcast, because if we still go for much longer, you still won't find it.
Okay, I won't look it up right now. But yeah, I disagree with you on the pricing thing. I don't think I understand that might be why they're doing it. What?
No, I don't agree with it either. I don't agree with the pricing. Pricing is bad. I just think that that's why it's happening. It's because they think they're hot shit. They seriously think they're hot shit. They think that they deserve it. They don't want to take a financial loss when they could be making more money. And they have that arrogance and pride. That's because they think they're artists, and they are.
It's okay. When GTA 6 comes out, they'll be the good guys because they're only selling their games for $80.
Yeah, it's only $80. Look at
GTA 6. Look at that.
Yeah. That's basically my perspective. You can have that, or you can have Ubisoft, and I don't see like.
Ubisoft is disgusting garbage. I fucking hate them, and I hope they burn to the ground. Fuck them. So real quick, because we're like coming up over 3 hours. Jesus Christ. And here I was. I'm like, did I get enough topics? Shit. So real quick, Duskbloods. Because I guess there's not too much to talk about this, to be honest, right? It's from Software game, multiplayer from Software game, a second one. What are your thoughts on it?
PvP focus. I've never been so excited because this is all I've ever wanted. It's a PvP focused. So the two games that they're coming out with, they're smaller titles. They're not their big main thing.
Yeah.
And one of them is co-op focused, and the other one is PvP focused. And the fact that it's PvP focused finally lets them focus on it, like actually work at the PvP. And I don't know if I'm sure I've told you this before, but I love the PvP.
Yeah,
I love invasions.
You're a big PvP enjoyer, yeah.
Yeah, this was a genius move by Nintendo, because I wouldn't have probably bought a Switch 2. Like, there's nothing else that's super exciting right now that's coming out on release. Well, it's not coming out on release. There's nothing right now that's exciting. But Duskblood guarantees my purchase, and it guarantees a lot. Basically, everybody that wants to do FromSoft PvP, there's a big dedicated PvP fan base that's like, we have to play whatever From Software makes, because there's no other game that provides us with the PvP invasion experience. And now they're making a game dedicated to that. And you can't emulate that. You can't steal that, because you need to be connected to the servers to play online. You're not going to make your own emulated version of it with like 15 people that also get downloaded it to fight those tryhards over and over. No, you're going to buy your $450 console. You're going to buy your $70 game. Well, who knows how much it's going to be. Whatever they priced it at. Probably
whatever
$70. You're gonna buy...
whatever they think that game is worth.
Yeah, whatever they think it's worth. Since Nintendo's publishing, you're going to buy your $70 game to play it, and then you're going to so here's your $500 console, your $500 game, basically, if you don't like the Switch and aren't interested in anything else.
So here's an interesting theory that I have about why this came about being. So you know why Bloodborne is a PlayStation 4 exclusive?
No, I didn't know there was a reason.
Oh yeah. So when the PS4 was coming out, Miyazaki, at least I remember reading this in an interview, Miyazaki wanted to learn the ins and outs of the PS4, how to code for it, how to program for it, all of that stuff, right? Because at least I think that he believed that was going to be a successful console. This is speculation on my part. I know that he wanted to learn more about how to make games for the PS4. And at the time, Sony Japan existed, and I don't know if they approached him or he approached them, whatever it was. But basically, they formed a partnership, and one of the objectives of Miyazaki was kind of like, we're going to learn how to work on the PS4, because we're working with PlayStation. They're going to give us their resources, so whenever we need help, we can just go to them, because it's an exclusive game, and they can just come in and help out with any programming stuff that we might need, which is why Bloodborne, even though, you can talk about how it only runs at 30 FPS or whatever, but it's a fucking phenomenal looking game for that system. It's probably one of the best looking games ever on the PlayStation 4, and it came out very close to release, if I remember correctly. So it's like, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to work with them exclusively, because that way you got the focus on the architecture of the console and to squeeze out as much juice from it as possible. Now, one of the things that From Software missed out on big time was working on the Switch. I don't know if it was maybe because they didn't have any faith on it or whatever it was, but naturally the Switch, brutally successful, right? Mm-hmm. Another thing that kind of like helps my theory is, like, at one point we had a From Software game that was published by Activision. Everybody's like, what the fuck? Why's From Software working with Activision? Guess what? Because Activision gave them a fat bag. That's why. Because they had to pay through the fucking nose for them to make that game for them. So it's like, in a lot of ways, Miyazaki also wants to go where the money is without compromising his vision. I think we can all agree Sekiro did not compromise on his vision because it was published by Activision. Like, there was no, at least I don't think there was any microtransactions on that thing, which is what Activision tends to do with everything. And they then got, like, whatever that DLC thing that's a boss rush mode, whatever it was.
For free.
And so, for free. And so, even though he's been able to work with some greedy companies without, completely screwing over his base. So my theory is because of how successful the Switch was, he wants now to learn the ins and outs of the Switch 2, and therefore he struck the exclusive deal with Nintendo, because it's like, we're working on this, and whenever they have a problem, they just go up to the Nintendo guys and it's like, hey, send over an engineer over here. We need to figure out this situation here, and somebody will they'll have resources available to them. That is my thought process. I could be wrong. I know that is what happened with Bloodborne, because he said so in an interview, that, like, him working closely with PlayStation allowed him to learn a lot more about the technologies that the console had, and it was just like a win-win for everybody. So him working with Switch is now going, because PlayStation 5 is the same architecture as PlayStation 4, so it's not like he needs to learn anything there, right? But the Switch 2, not only was the Switch 1 very successful, but the Switch 2 has different architecture from the Switch 1, so it's the perfect entry point for him to smooth in there, and now he can just put his games on there. And he's also putting Elden Ring on there, with Shadow of the Erdtree included and all of that stuff, which opens up a whole new market for them as well. So it's just a massive win from Software all around to do an exclusive. Now, whether it is a timed exclusive or not, that's going
to be interesting.
Yeah,
that's going to be interesting. how are you feeling about because
So
for me, I'm gonna get a Switch 2 anyway, so I don't care. I'm gonna play it on release. But how
it's
do you feel
like
about the exclusivity?
the exclusivity itself. Yeah, that I know that. Obviously, if somebody asks me, do you think exclusives are good? No, I think exclusives are terrible. And a lot of times exclusives cost the actual developers a bunch of money because they're not as successful as they would have been if they weren't exclusive. So, that's pretty much where I sit when it comes to that stuff. But in regards to the game itself, it's like what you were saying. They've made one that's focused on co-op and one that's focused on PvP. You're more into PvP. I'm more into co-op. So I think that Night Rain is going to be more my speed. But at the same time, I'm going to play whatever Miyazaki does because I've never been disappointed with anything that Miyazaki does. Even the Rosane game, I didn't finish it. But it's not because I was disappointed. It's because I just don't feel that virtual reality technology is there yet, because I actually think that the Rosane was a very interesting implementation of VR, and I had fun when I played it. So I've never been disappointed by a Miyazaki game. So, I mean,
I want to point out that I feel great
Frigid
shame.
Frigid Outskirts fucking suck. Okay.
Yeah, notwithstanding Frigid Outskirts.
Notwithstanding Frigid Outskirts. Okay, that place fucking blows. All right. And yeah, there's some parts of Dark Souls 2 that I have some strong feelings about, but I would never say that I was disappointed about Dark Souls 2. Absolutely love Dark Souls 2. Even if I always say it is the worst of the Souls games, but the worst of the Souls game is still a fucking fantastic game.
Yeah,
is where I'm at.
I have similar. I will rag on Dark Souls 2 just for fun, though, just because to rile up the Dark Souls 3 fans. Because
there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Yeah, they get uppity
with me. There's a lot of them. Yeah, they're tired of getting dragged through the mud, so they're like chihuahuas. As soon as you say something, they all start piping up. So I got to, you got to put them in their place every once in a while.
Put them in their
to make sure they remember they're at the bottom of the barrel.
Damn, that's harsh. Especially you as a PvP enjoyer, I figured you'd be the one to enjoy it the most.
I don't like the Dark Souls 2 PvP.
I still remember one time I asked Miyazaki, because this was at a
Soul Memory
at E3 about Soul Memory. He's like, Soul Memory does. What the fuck is that?
What is that?
He's like, no, Dark Souls 3 is not going to have Soul Memory. I was like, oh, okay, good to know.
Yeah, it's good to, you'll know if Miyazaki it's his idea. If it's a bad idea, then it's not his idea.
Exactly. This is some like super Miyazaki simping, but yes, we are big Miyazaki simps. Miyazaki can do no wrong. And interestingly enough, Duskbloods is directed by Miyazaki himself.
This is his game. This is him specifically working on it.
Which, he only really works on stuff that he really cares about. So it's interesting. And it's made even more interesting because he's not even one to enjoy PvP all that much. I think he said it on the creator interview or whatever.
He did. But he did.
Yeah, and he's like, but I'm still enjoying this quite a bit. And I was like, oh, that's actually sounds fun. Like, so I'm super interested. I've never been like super into doing PvP. I just like the tension of getting invaded and the fight to the death with the other person. I like that. Mm-hmm. But like specifically seeking it out as like a red phantom, it's not my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I guess there are roles that you could play if you wanted to be friendly with other people and you wanted to try and get victory without having to kill everyone. That's going to be interesting. There's not much to talk about. I want to see some gameplay before there's more.
I want to play that flying dude in the tin can suit, just like friggin' Iron Man over there flying. I'm like, what? I want that one. Friggin' steampunk Iron Man.
Do you know what Fate Stay Night is?
What?
Fate Stay Night. Do you know what that is?
I know of Fate Sextella. I don't know if it's the same thing.
So it's a visual novel, and it's an anime and a bunch of video games. It's a big franchise, I guess. But the original was a visual novel, and they have the Holy Grail War, and they've got all the saber and the archer and the. Okay, if you don't know, then you don't know. Miyazaki's a fan of it, and the premise is that they take heroes from different ages and they all come to fight in modern times or whenever the war is going on, and they fight for the Holy Grail. And this game has all of these people. They're not from the same time period. Those characters are not from the same time period, and they're coming to different time periods at the end of a human era. So like the end of the Victorian era, the end of the Gothic spires and stuff like that. The end of the then they've got that high speed train going through it. So I think there's going to be a modern thing. That guy that's flying through the air, that's some fucking robot or something. That's not. Yeah. This is normal. And they're going to mix them all together in different arenas. So this is going to be super cool. It's very much like Fate Stay Night, and I know that Miyazaki likes that series.
No, that guy is not a robot. It's me. It's me inside that.
It's
suit.
me. It's me.
I'm inside the suit flying in. Then I'm gonna like drop grenades and stuff. Yeah, that's me on top of the suit, flying over while everybody's fighting in the ground. Yep, sounds fantastic. No, like I'm super curious about it. I'm definitely gonna play it. It's just on the whole concept of buying the console, I'm kind of pissed off because of the paid upgrades. Because like I said, I have like a significant Switch One library, and if they're going to charge me to have access to the better hardware that I've already paid for, it's like, nah, man. I mean,
that would be scummy.
I'm just disgusting.
Unwilling to like to jump on that hate train just yet, because that's so scummy. Like I have a hard time believing that they would even try that. Like they can't be that fucking tone deaf.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this is confirmed. Like I looked up the articles.
It's confirmed that it's emulated. Okay, so I'll believe you on that, I guess.
No. What I mean that it's confirmed that if you want the better performing games, you got to pay for the upgrades, I think.
Well, yeah, for the ones that they've announced, but
yeah, and Xenoblade Chronicles X is one of those.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Xenoblade, there's a upgraded version for the. Okay, well then in that case that's you know what. See, I'm not going to say that I believe you, because I need to look it up myself. But
yeah, sure. I mean, I remember I looked it up the day that the direct was happening, and I was looking it up, and I was just like so disgusted, and I was like, this is fuck me, dude. It's like Tears of the Kingdom's getting one, Breath of the Wild's getting one. I would expect most of the major games, and it's like the other thing is, okay, what is it with Nintendo? The upgrades are one thing.
I just think that you will be able to backwards compatible play your old games, and they'll be able to use the better hardware to just run better. I thought that's what we all wanted.
Yeah, that is what I want. I just don't think that's what's going to happen.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get back to that. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize and be like, okay.
So yeah. So on a final thing, since we brought this up, just like really final topic, like why did they forget that Wind Waker HD exists? Like fuck this and emulating GameCube bullshit. Give me the HD one from the Wii U.
I don't want the HD one from the Wii U. I don't like the HD.
What?
It looks worse. It looks like piece of shit. It looks like piece of shit. The lighting is bad.
Oh my god.
The lighting is bad. The shadows are bad. The it looks like everything's bloomed out. The sun's beating down. Like everybody's dying. They're being fried like an egg on those islands. It looks shitty. I don't like it. I've always disliked the art style. What I have always wanted from Nintendo is for them to take all of the gyro implementation, the streamlined questing for the Triforce pieces, all of the improvements from it, and put it on the Switch, but return the original art style from the original game that was far superior.
I should point out, I never played the original.
Oh, okay.
It's so baffling to me that, I played the one on the Wii U, and it's so baffling for you to just like shit all over it. I'm like, that game looked beautiful. What do you mean?
No, it is. It's pretty for what it is, but I just don't think it's anywhere near as good as... This isn't even in a super uncommon opinion. I'd say it's like 50-50 in the community, or maybe like 60 in my direction. It's not a super uncommon
I'm a Zelda tourist, okay? I'm a big Zelda tourist.
You're welcome to stay. We love Zelda tourists.
Oh man, but with that, I'm gonna wrap it up. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep chatting with you for the next 2 hours. And
Yeah. It's been a long one. My throat.
Everybody, thank you all very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, do make sure to hit up with a like, subscribe for more, and there's going to be a link to Ratataskr's YouTube channel. Make sure to go there and subscribe, where you can get all of your doom and gloom news, unless it's Nintendo. Giving you shit. See, I can't make that joke because now what's going to happen very much the same way that you make a joke at the end of your videos, people give you shit over it. Now people are going to say, damn, do you see how rude Ruri was to Rata? And it's like, yeah, well, he told me to shut up in the last podcast, so that's what he fucking gets.
That's not what happened. Oh my